Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 51. We are available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. If you guys would like to ask us any questions, you can leave a voice message at the Anchor link or in the YouTube comment section. Today, we're going to be talking about quick general gaming and movie news, including the HBO Max's simultaneous theater release and Nintendo being a bad company. Then we'll talk about the new Star Wars and Disney shows announced. Next, we're going to dive into our recent activities, including Cyberpunk 2077 and a whole lot of anime. Furthermore, we're heading into the Marvel Cinematic Universe news and Spider-Man 3 news. Lastly, we're going to discuss the results and announcements from the Game Awards last night. So, first piece of news is that Spider-Man Miles Morales PS5 now has ray tracing and at 60 FPS. So they pretty much just added a new sort of setting. I believe it's called Performance RT. So they bumped the resolution down but gave you ray tracing. So I haven't tried it out yet, but I think that this is just a really good idea.
Yeah, I haven't tried it out either, but Devil May Cry 5 on PS5, because I have that as well. It also has something like that where it like lowers I think it's supposed to be 144p, but it lowers it to 1080p, so you can play it with ray tracing. I believe that's what it does. I don't know if that's the same thing with Miles, but it's doing a very similar thing where you can have sort of the best of both worlds. I mean, if this was at launch, I would have played it with it, I think.
Yeah.
Just so I could get some of that ray tracing while still having 60, because, again, I think 60 is more important. I think, if you listen to this podcast, you probably gather that we really care about frame rates. And, I think a lot more people are seeing that now. I'm seeing a lot more people say, wow, yeah, 30 FPS looks unplayable now compared to 60. And, yeah, that's basically how I feel. So it's good to have that 60 FPS, but have that little bit of ray tracing also. To really get that next gen feel. And it's cool that Sonic was even able to do this. It really shows that it's still like tinkering with the game, want to make sure it's like the best playable experience you could get. And maybe this will be like cool for Spider-Man 2, maybe it might use a lot of this sort of technology they're making with this game and like put it into Spider-Man 2. So that's what's getting me excited,
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully they're able to implement it for Ratchet and Clank as well, because that would be very exciting.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, definitely. Ray tracing is still like very new for like console gaming and stuff like that. So being able to get best of both worlds just by going through the settings and just picking one of now the three options with performance mode, fidelity mode, and now performance RT. So yeah, definitely very cool for Insomniac Games too. Once again, to give us something that, people wanted, because they were like, oh, I wish I could have best of both worlds. But, Insomniac, they are too good to the consumer, I will say. So.
Hell yeah. I love you, Insomniac. All right, so next bit of news, Scott Pilgrim, the complete edition is going to be coming out January 14th. It seemed to have been delayed a little bit since said it was going to come out this year, but I guess not. And physical release will happen after January 14th, if it actually happens. I know if they do release a physical version, I will buy that immediately.
Yeah.
Just because I do not want this thing going away again. I'm like, no, you're gonna be with me forever. But that's exciting news. Obviously I love this game. I thought it was really great, and it just going offline for everyone. I know you just couldn't buy it for like years was very disappointing. So yeah, I was hoping something like this would happen, and it's obviously it happened already. But now that we have a solid release date, January 14th, I am very happy for that.
Yeah, very exciting to be able to actually play this game again. Just because, when it came out on the Xbox Live Arcade, it was a game that I think not a lot of people were really talking about, but if you were playing it, you knew that this game had a pretty good sort of like art style with the sprites, but also had really good gameplay, really good soundtrack, like everything you could ask within like a retro inspired game at the time. Scott Pilgrim versus the World pretty much nailed it. And now that we're getting it again, complete edition, newer console release, and hopefully a physical edition sometime later next year. I hope that happens, because I'm pretty sure Ubisoft probably looks, around online and like, yeah, we'll probably make a lot of money if we actually are able to pull a physical edition off on top of the digital sales that they'll probably get for this. So yeah, very exciting to once again hop into Scott Pilgrim. So
hell yeah, dude.
All right, so next piece of news is that Oscar Isaac is going to star as Solid Snake in the Metal Gear Solid movie. I had no idea that a Metal Gear Solid movie was happening, but
Me
hey,
either.
Oscar Isaac, my man's getting more work. So I
Like
can,
he was Poe, right?
yeah,
In
Poe.
the yeah. Okay, that's
So
all I know.
yeah, he was Poe. He was in Ex Machina, and
Oh,
then the
okay.
one after that, I forget what that one was called, but that movie was really weird. But yeah, he's a pretty good actor overall. And I think that he does fit sort of like the face structure of, I guess, what Solid Snake would look like. So yeah, hopefully that, this does end up being decently good because once again, video game movies have been slightly on the rise with the most recent one, Sonic the Hedgehog. And the one before that was the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie. So yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't watched both of those. It's probably watched those. But yeah, for like Metal Gear is gonna be a really weird movie to make because it sounds simple, but obviously Kojima goes nuts in those like games. So
hmm
it'd be interesting to see if they actually do adapt all those crazy stuff into the movie, or to just kind of keep it like a pretty standard like spy stealthy type movie. Because again, like I think Uncharted is a really simple thing to just make a movie, and I could see that being pretty successful since it's basically just Indiana Jones.
hmm
Metal Gear gets really weird, so I'm really curious how a general audience will like, be like how they react to that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I had no idea that was coming out either. But yeah, more movie. There's a lot of movie news. Warner
Yeah.
Bros. Reveals all 2021 films are coming to HBO Max simultaneously with the theatrical releases. So things like Dune, Suicide Squad, the Tom and Jerry movie, Matrix 4, Godzilla vs King Kong, and more is going to be a 1 month window for HBO Max release. And yeah, I mean I love this. I think this is great. I
hmm
know theater heads are gonna be like, oh no, but I feel like Corona, and obviously I love movie theaters. Right? Don't get me wrong. I love
hmm
going to a movie theater and watching a movie in the big screen. You have all the sounds and the IMAX. It's great. Get the popcorn with your friends. It's great. But
hmm
just the world we're living right now. Obviously COVID isn't gonna go away anytime soon. I'm still guessing next year we will still have to have like limited capacity in a lot of places. I don't think things are gonna go back to really normal until 2022. So I think Warner Brothers has the right idea to have this sort of HBO Max, like theatrical releases being released at the same time.
hmm
Disney is right doing it, but Disney did it dumb where you have to like buy, you have to buy Disney Plus, then you got to buy the movie, and it's like $20 or $30 or something.
hmm
For HBO Max, it's like no, you just get the movie if you have HBO Max. And I think that's smart. Smart for HBO Max because that thing isn't doing so hot, and it's smart because yeah, theaters probably aren't gonna be open like next year either, or they might, but like a lot of them might just close. Honestly, like, I think AMC is doing really bad right now, so
Yeah.
it's not looking good for theaters. So like they have to do something, and I think this something is probably the right choice, at least in my opinion. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so, there's obviously a lot of opinions out there about, this whole thing because supposedly like Warner Brothers sort of like did this without like asking anyone or whatever. Like they kind
Right.
of just like, oh, like screw it, we're just gonna do it. But I know that they talked to Gail Gadot because obviously she's very like heavily involved with the Wonder Woman movies, and they talked to her and I guess they like threw a bag at her or like some sort of check, and she was like, okay, sure. And obviously, when the actor or actress gets like extra money for that, they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, whatever, do it. But supposedly these other movies, like no one got like that same sort of treatment as her, so that's
Right.
why a lot of people are upset. But like, movie theaters, like I love, like I will never forget every single time I went to go see Endgame, like the first like 2 to 3 times I went to go see it, the theater just going nuts towards the third act, like that stuff was and will always be like something that I will always remember, especially the first time when I saw it, obviously. And same thing goes for Far From Home, Spider-Man. Like
Oh yeah.
watching that movie in theaters was super fun. So yeah, like going to the theaters, like you said, is always a fun experience. Is always going to be something that is unique that you can't get at home. But just like you said, also the times that we live in it's a little risky to go out and watch a movie. I mean, like the last movie I saw in theaters was that Disney Disney movie with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt. I forget.
Oh, the Disney one. What was it again? I
Yeah,
know what you're talking about. I know what
I'm
you're talking
trying to
about.
look it up
Oh,
right now.
Outward,
Yes,
Outward, right?
Outward. So I saw that
Yeah.
in theaters, and I was the only one in there. So like I
All
was
right.
fine, but I was just like, yeah, like this is, people are getting scared about the whole, COVID, and despite the vaccine like getting to New York in particular, like very soon, it's gonna go to like obviously like the frontline workers first. We don't know when it's gonna get to like the general public. I would assume that, depending on how fast they're actually trying to do this or whatever, like probably normal life isn't going to resume until 2022, which is unfortunate because, I would love to go back to school and not have to worry about dying every single time I go. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's obviously like a good business strategy for Warner Brothers to be like, hey, look, like we're trying to like save these movies to like, sort of give the best of both worlds to people that still want to see it but can't go to the movie theaters. Just subscribe to HBO Max, start that free trial, whichever movie that you want to, watch, and then just, watch it during that 1 month period it's on there. It's not going to stay on HBO Max forever. It's just going to be during that 1 month time, when it's released, and then I guess 30 days afterwards. So, like I'm a little conflicted is what I'm trying to say here, because like I love the movie theaters, but like I get like what they're trying to do, but I also get why people are upset, like industry people are upset, because Gal Gadot, she got this like special treatment from Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers isn't like throwing a bag to these other movies that obviously put in a lot of work and a lot of time into, thinking that it was going to be a theater release, but now it's going to be released on HBO Max or whatever, which I guess goes to sort of the death of movie theaters, which is like a whole other like discussion that people are having, which is like, are movie theaters even going to be around next year? Which is like, like you said, AMC, I think recently like a article came out where like they're running out of money, like they're gonna run out of money by like January or something, is what I read in the headline. I didn't read the article or anything, but they're gonna run out of money very soon, which is like kind of concerning and really sucks, because the movie theater experience will always be something that people will cherish, and will always be something that people love doing as like a social thing. Me personally, I don't mind going to the movie theater by myself and watching like Logan or something like that. But yeah, definitely, it's up in the air as to whether movie theaters are going to stay around or not, which is why when Christopher Nolan said to the Hollywood Reporter, HBO Max is the worst streaming service ever, obviously him sort of like, because I believe he recently just came out with Tenet, and I believe that was also
Yeah.
distributed by Warner Brothers, and like, I don't think he wanted to like release it in theaters or something like that, or like,
I think he wanted to release it in theaters,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So like he wanted
Yeah.
to release it in theaters, but not right now. Like he wanted to like wait for it or something. I think that's what happened. I'm not entirely sure. I could be getting this wrong, but yeah, Warner Brothers kind of was just like, I mean, if you want to release it, we're gonna do it now, because I guess they had this plan of doing the whole HBO Max thing, like after Tenet, but they were like, if you don't want to release it now, we can't put it on HBO Max simultaneously because that's not what you want. So we're just gonna release it in theaters now. That's just what I'm assuming, and that's what I'm going to guess. But yeah, it's definitely a very like sort of like industry sort of like movie Hollywood thing where they're like super upset about it. So, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I mean, I get it. Like, I get why the industry people will also be mad at it, but it's just the timing. It's just like I'd rather have these movies come out in some form than not
hmm
like either get delayed or not come out at all. I mean, look at like Black Widow, right?
hmm
That thing has been delayed so many times. I know it's because of COVID and messing up with like filming or like editing or whatever, but I just rather have them come out when they're supposed to come out. Yeah, we're not gonna get the full experience because we can't see them in the theaters. Like I would rather watch them in the theaters as well.
hmm
But again, I think this is just the best approach as of right now. I think obviously Warner Brothers could have done a better job like informing everyone before making just rash decisions. Just like, okay, we're just gonna do it. Like they probably should have asked each one of these like directors or whatever, like, hey, is it okay if we put this movie in HBO Max? I think Legendary, like the people who made Godzilla and all the new Godzilla movies,
hmm
I think they try to fight it. Like, no, we don't want our movie there in HBO Max. So yeah, it's definitely is a tricky situation. Like I prefer this situation, this solution, I guess, because again, I would rather watch the movie than not at all. But
Hmm.
it really should be up to each individual like director what they want like their movie, how they want their movie to be shown. Like, I know Christopher Nolan, he always wants his movies in the theaters. Right? That's just how he envisions his movies being watched. So he
Hmm.
should have that right to be like, no, I don't want it on HBO Max. I'll wait or like release it now. So yeah, it's always just like everything we talked about, it's more complicated than we're saying.
Hmm.
There's a lot of moving parts. There's no easy way to say it. I like this solution, but it might not be the best for like everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely not like on one side or the other. Like obviously like as the consumer, it's like, oh shit, like if I just subscribe to HBO Max, I could watch, like Dune or like Tom and Jerry when they come out. But it's like at the same time, it's like, oh man, like these studios and these people that worked on these movies didn't really have a huge say in as to whether that happened or not. But with Disney, I think that the reason why they're waiting for theaters to reopen is because they know that that shit will make a lot of money. Like they know that that is like guaranteed sort of like cash for them. Like whenever they release any sort of like Marvel movie, that's instant like millions of dollars. But when it comes to Warner Brothers, like these movies, like Dune's probably going to be successful. Suicide Squad is probably going to be successful. Matrix 4 is probably going to be successful. But things like Godzilla, Tom and Jerry, a lot of the other movies, it's sort of like up in the air as to whether they're going to, get their return back, like instantly or even more sort of thing. So, them doing this sort of like HBO Max thing is probably them trying to be like, all right, let's try to make as much money as possible before, like people lose interest in these movies to begin with, because, Black Widow's been delayed so many times, but there's still some people out there that are probably going to see it that aren't as excited like us. But there's probably
Right.
also some other people that are still super excited about Black Widow for whatever reason, just because they love the Marvel movies. But yeah, that's just my stance on it. I'm still a little conflicted on it, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, very complex situations as COVID sucks. Like everyone has to change how they live because that's just how the world is.
Yep.
But in other news, Netflix is developing a 3D Sonic animated series. It's coming out in 2022.
Yeah.
So, what's the next 3D Sonic game, Sega? Like it's been a while.
Look, I'm pretty sure 2022 is going to be the year of Sonic or something. I don't even know because I'm pretty sure that's when they're going to, or next year they're probably going to like announce like a lot of big things and then be like, it's all going to come out in 2022 because Netflix deleted this tweet, by the way. Like they announced it and then they're like, oh shit, I think we did it too early. So they like deleted it, but like people like saw the tweet and like, like they have like actual like confirmation of this. So yeah, but the series is going to be developed by Wild Brain and Man of Action Entertainment, which they have been known for doing, like kids shows. Like Man of Action did the Ben 10 stuff early on, along with the current stuff as well. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to Sonic animated stuff, I haven't watched anything since like Sonic X, if I'm going to be honest. And I low key still like Sonic X, despite Chris Thorndike, being a goddamn idiot. But
Same.
I've actually never watched Sonic Boom other than like the many clips on Twitter where like, it's like really good jokes. And I'm like, that's like really smartly written, honestly. And that's like kind of weird. But yeah.
Yeah, I also like really the last Sonic thing, like animated I guess I watched was Sonic X. Obviously I liked it as a kid a lot, but now I mean, yeah, it's not great now, but I still like it. And yeah, Sonic Boom, I've seen a bunch of clips throughout the internet, and yeah, it's pretty funny. Sonic Boom. Way better than the actual game was. So I don't know. I don't know what this like anime series is gonna be about. Like if it's gonna like do its own thing, or if it's gonna follow like the comics or like some new show or what, or a new game. I mean, sorry. So yeah, I'm not really entirely sure. It seems like everyone's getting animated series now, which we'll talk about at the Game Awards. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool. So I get to get more, I guess, Sonic content if you view that as a good thing. But yeah, not too much else to say except it's coming out. So yeah.
Yeah, something to look forward to for the Sonic fans because, other than the IDW comic that you get like every month, other than that, there's not been much other things for Sonic as of late. So, it's the Sonic drought as the Sonic community on Twitter likes to say or whatever. But moving on, we're going to talk about Nintendo and why they're a really bad company. So, I mean, first thing is that Microsoft bought Smash.gg, which is kind of weird. So, if you guys don't know what Smash.gg is, it's a website for Smash Brothers where, you could sign up for tournaments, online tournaments, obviously, because, the times. And Microsoft just bought them out. So, as of right now, the team is going to benefit from additional resources and support as a part of the Microsoft Content Services team. And for now, it's business as usual as our combined team continues to support our community and tournament organizers. So, yeah, I just find that really funny because, just last episode, Nintendo was like, cease and desist all, the Smash Melee thing and, hashtag free Melee, hashtag save Smash, all that stuff happened. And Microsoft sort of just came in and was like, we'll just buy this, Smash Brothers website that does tournaments. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really crazy that just like, Microsoft is going to buy it. Like, that's crazy to me. But yeah, obviously, as we all know, Nintendo has not been kind to Smash Brothers. I mean, this year has kind of been a pretty bad year for Smash in general. Like, I guess in terms of not like really the game itself, but I guess just everything around it. So yeah, it hasn't been a good time to be like a Smash player. So I guess I mean, I'd rather have Microsoft buy it than like anyone else, I guess. So. I guess it would be cool to have more resources put into it and more support, like you said. And yeah, hopefully they can make it like I guess better.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. The website's so goddamn janky. Every single time I like sign up for a tournament to like go with Kofi or whatever, I'm just like, this website is just terrible. Oh my god. So hopefully they'll be able to stabilize the site a little bit because really there's no other like because literally every single Smash tournament uses this site. So it's like, all right, I have to go through this like janky sort of setup. Hopefully I'm able to navigate through it and it doesn't like bug or crash on me, but. Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Yeah, I think I used it a few times too because I had like for something, but yeah, well, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
All right, so now we got more.
Okay, wait.
Stuff.
This is actually positive Nintendo news, but go on.
Yeah, that's true. Nintendo hacker has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for hacking, plus having possession of child pornography. So. Yeah, if you don't know who this dude is, I believe he was like leaking things before the Switch came out, right? Because I think I remember hearing about this, when it first happened. So yeah, basically he hacked into Nintendo's internal network and leaks information about the Nintendo Switch before launch. He has charges related to a 2016 phishing attempt when he gained access to the Nintendo secrets, including pre-release information about the anticipated Nintendo Switch console, which I believe we already knew a lot about the Switch before it even came out. Since we already knew they were making a hybrid console, and that's where a lot of concerns were coming from because a lot of people weren't like happy. But obviously that's all in the past now because the Switch is great. But that was a whole thing before it came out. FBI investigators originally contacted the hacker in October 2017 about his hacking attempts when he was a minor. Hernandez promised them he'll stop hacking. He didn't. He continued to hack Nintendo servers and leak information he found there, such as confidential information about various popular video games, gaming consoles, and developer tools. According to the news release, FBI agents searched his house in 2019 and discovered thousands of private Nintendo files, along with more than 1,000 pieces of child pornography and a file labeled bad stuff. Following his release from prison, the hacker would be required to complete 7 years of supervised release and to be registered as a sex offender. So yeah, pretty good news for Nintendo and basically for the world. Obviously, when there was this first on like R Gaming or all the other like news websites, I'm like, oh man, he got 3 years for hacking. I'm like, that's pretty crazy. And then I read the child pornography. I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense. So really good job for the FBI here. Obviously, I guess they were looking more for the, like all this Nintendo like leaked information, but ended up finding child pornography. And honestly, like obviously you're a dumbass if you're looking at that stuff, but also if you do something illegal anyway, why make it worse? Like, why do you have that also? If you're gonna do that, like, don't you want to be low key about it? Like, obviously don't do it, but like, come on, dude. What a dumbass.
Yeah, this guy definitely had some problems. I mean, when you have like a very like proficient mind to even do like hacking and stuff, it's like, wow, you must be like some sort of genius, but also you must be kind of crazy because that's just how geniuses are, where it's like they're like super smart, but sometimes they go a little AWOL. And this guy, he had a file labeled bad stuff and it just had child porn on it. It's just like, what the fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's obviously good that, they were able to catch this guy, not just because of his hacking attempts, but obviously because he's a shitty person. But yeah, definitely something that I did not expect to read when I was going through, the news, and I was just like, oh, 3 years in prison and child porn. Oh, okay.
It's always child porn now.
Man,
Like,
it's
what is
just
wrong
like,
with you people? My God.
why? Just
Jesus,
please, God, help these people. But yeah, definitely a W in Nintendo's book, along with the many L's that they took this week. Which the first one is about them stopping the sale of Etika Joy-Cons, which was it was a Indiegogo or something like that, a sort of like fundraiser thing for suicide charity. So if you guys don't know who Etika is, he is a very popular YouTuber within the Nintendo community. He had a community named the Joy-Con Boys, I believe. I personally did not watch a lot of Etika, but I knew people who did. And he sadly took his own life in 2019. And a fan made a Indiegogo campaign to sell custom Joy-Cons to raise money for the JED Foundation, a nonprofit that protects emotional health and prevents suicide for our nation's teens and young adults. So the Joy-Cons themselves, it featured Etika's logo along with the Joy-Con Boys community logo. The fan received a cease and desist from Nintendo for use of copyright terms. So keep in mind, these Joy-Cons have been on sale on his Etsy store for the last year, and only last September 2020, Nintendo sent this cease and desist notice. So it is kind of weird that, it took them this long to sort of like, find out these Joy-Cons, especially with how big Etika's passing and how big his sort of presence on the internet was within the Nintendo community. And the fact that they only sent it now, it seems a little weird, especially since these Joy-Cons were originally made to raise money for charity, and now obviously he's selling them on his Etsy store to I'm not sure if the sales after the Indiegogo campaign went towards this sort of charity thing. If they did, then yeah, obviously that's kind of messed up for Nintendo, but they are within the legal right. I'm not defending them here, by the way. I'm not defending them here, but they are within the legal right because it does use the sort of Joy-Con Boys sort of like term, like Joy-Con. Yeah, so Joy-Con is like a term that they've obviously like trademarked and stuff, and also the Joy-Con Boys like sort of logo has the Joy-Cons on there as well. So copyright infringement, all that other stuff. And Nintendo didn't completely shut down the manufacture of these shells, but rather had him remove some of the designs and modify them slightly. So to my knowledge, to the creator of the Joy-Con Boys sort of Joy-Cons, the only things that needed to be removed are the word Joy-Con and likely the split within the Switch logo surrounding the word. He told the Independent, which is the article that I got this from, although said on Reddit that the company didn't specifically tell him why each design was taken down. But they did decide to include a list of copyrights. My designs broke, and the words Joy-Con was on that list. Blake also clarified that while some believe that Nintendo issued the blanket cease and desist order on his Etsy shop, this is not the case. The Etika Joy-Cons or the Etikons were the one of those links they attached, along with the listing of their trademark for the word Joy-Con and the trademark for the Switch logo. So yeah, he's having a back and forth with the Nintendo lawyer as well to sort of make sure that he is, following their rules and then all that other, legal stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of like, I'm pretty sure it was like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have like the Joy-Con, I guess, branding. I know like that's also like Etika's thing, the Joy-Con Boys, but still like, I guess having Joy-Con there doesn't look great if you're trying to like sell it. I mean, again, not really defending Nintendo or anything. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Same thing with like the logo as well. Like it had a Switch logo on it. Yeah, that's also like you probably can't do that. So yeah, I mean it's nice that they're not like they're just telling him to modify it. At least it's not like full on out like destroy him like Nintendo usually does. So I guess that's nice.
Yeah, definitely a very slippery slope because this was originally made for charity to sort of help people within those vulnerable spots mentally and emotionally. So them sort of, and since these have been on his Etsy store sort of just sitting there for like over a year, I guess they just couldn't turn a blind eye for whatever reason, or just like cease and desist on these Joy-Cons for whatever reason. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird because if it was like instant, obviously that would be very Nintendo, but also would probably stir up a lot more controversy. But since they did it so late, it just seems a little weird to me as well. Because like I said, these have been sitting on his Etsy store for like the last year, and only last September that they sent this cease and desist notice. So
Yeah, it is weird it waited so long, but I guess if they did it as soon as it happened, it would look really bad. So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
it's
definitely sucks.
yeah.
All
And
right.
again, last thing for Nintendo, Nintendo cancels a Splatoon final stream where due to 30% of the top team names were being in support for Melee or just Smash in general. There was a lot of like free Melee and things, and I think that's really cool. I think it's really dangerous for Splatoon to do that since they rely a lot more on Nintendo to like set up tournaments.
Hmm.
But it's really cool to see them sticking their neck out for Melee and Smash, with using all these, like hashtags in the like team names. So Nintendo just can't ignore it. Like they just had to like, all right, we just won't stream it then. So it's really cool that the Splatoon community is really looking out for the Smash community.
Hmm.
I just think that's really neat. And obviously, I don't think Nintendo's ever gonna do any like all these like movements. Like they're nice, but is Nintendo ever gonna change? I highly doubt it. Like it's kind of hard to see them like ever really caring. Like who knows? Maybe they will buckle down and say like, "Hey, all right, you know what? We were being assholes. Let's reverse some things. Let's try to make things better." But I highly doubt Nintendo would do that since they really have no gain from it. But they also have no gain for like shutting everything down. So I don't know. Nintendo's just weird.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Shout out to the Splatoon community once again because, like you said, they rely heavily on Nintendo for like almost everything. And the fact that they were, willing to sort of do this, and obviously they probably knew that there were going to be consequences. So just shutting down the whole final stream sucked. But yeah, free Melee, free Smash. It's still a movement that people are very passionate about, and people are still trying to get off the ground. But like you said, Nintendo doesn't really. They just play by their own rules, and they just don't really care about that kind of stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And yeah, like they don't gain anything from shutting it down, but they also don't gain anything from like changing it, I guess. But maybe it's just because like the way Nintendo operates is that like it's a family friendly sort of company. So even if like us like young adults stop buying their stuff, some of them are probably still gonna also buy their stuff. Like those Pokemon fans are like, yeah man, fuck Pokemon. They used they like reused animations on all this other stuff. They're probably also the ones that also bought Sword and Shield when it came out because I didn't buy
Right.
it, but like I wasn't buying it not because of that. I just didn't buy it because I'm not interested in it, sort of thing, And like even if us young adults going back to that, like don't buy their stuff, there's probably still going to be parents, kids still going to buy their games or whatever because that's just what they play and that's just what they like. And Nintendo obviously they don't like they just don't see eye to eye with, I guess, us as like Americans and like just like the internet in general, where it's like we love Smash, we love playing this game, we love watching this game, but you're just stopping us because we're using like a third party thing that doesn't really affect Melee either because the game is so old at this point. Like what is the point of even doing it, but yeah, these Splatoon community, them doing what they did, hashtag free Melee, team, 210 or whatever the hell, like shout out to them, honestly, because that is something that, I don't think a lot of other, sort of like communities, or I don't even think other communities would even be in a position like this, but the fact that they even thought about doing that for like their team names and sort of like just have it be that is, very cool. So.
Yeah. Yeah, basically everything you just said. like we said, like Nintendo doesn't really gain much from this. Like I don't know why they're still doing this, but again, it's good to see Splatoon really, really stick it up for Melee there. So I really appreciate that
Mm-hmm.
because it's I don't know, Nintendo's just dumb.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the Star Wars and Disney news. So the first piece of news that we have for Star Wars is that the Rangers of the New Republic, it's a new series, is going to be in the timeline of The Mandalorian, is going to be coming to Disney Plus. And then there's also going to be a Ahsoka series starring Rosario Dawson, which will also be set within the Mandalorian timeline, also coming to Disney Plus. So I'm pretty much doing these two together because, it's pretty much spin-offs for The Mandalorian, and since The Mandalorian is so successful and so popular, they would obviously make other series to sort of tie into it. I'm not sure what the Rangers of the New Republic are going to really talk about other than what the title says, just sort of like focus on the, good guys or whatever. But the Ahsoka show, that's going to be very interesting because, people really love that episode of The Mandalorian, which, isn't really a spoiler anymore because, Star Wars pretty much just posted it all over the goddamn internet about Ahsoka's appearance within Mandalorian Season 2. So it is very exciting to see more Ahsoka stuff because people have loved her as a character since the Clone Wars was releasing on Cartoon Network or whatever. So, seeing this character get more love and the attention that she's getting is very, very cool. So,
Yeah, Ahsoka's show was basically like a no-brainer. Like as soon as we saw her, I'm like, there's no way that's like the only thing she's gonna do. Like she was either gonna show up more in the Mandalorian or she was just getting her own thing, and it turns out she is getting her own thing. I mean, they even set it up like she was like talking about things. I'm not gonna say too much of it because obviously I don't want to spoil that much. But at the end of her episode, it was obviously foreshadowing for her having her own like objective there. So it's gonna be cool to see her do her own thing. Really, now I really have to watch Clone Wars. Like, I'm like, damn, okay, fine. I'll watch Clone Wars. I really need to watch it. And for the other one, Rangers of the New Republic, don't really know what that's going to be about. I guess about the New Republic, but you know what I mean. I don't know what the characters are going to be or how much. I don't even know if Mando's really going to be there as like maybe he might have a cameo or two. But yeah, I guess that's also going to be exciting. I think Star Wars just works better as TV shows, honestly.
yeah.
Like I think some of the best Star Wars content has not been from the movies, but from all the shows. Like, I know some of my better memories are with the Clone Wars, not CG Clone Wars, but the dude who made Samurai Jack. He made like another Clone Wars type thing before Episode 3 came out. I love that. Obviously, like all the games and like now Mandalorian. I'm like that's mostly what I associate my memories with Star Wars with, not really the movies as much. So yeah, I just think it fits better as a TV series. Honestly, you could do more, you could build more characters. We've seen it with Mandalorian, and hopefully we see it with these other shows as well. As we also have another show here that's not directly related to the Mandalorian, Andor. It's a Rogue One prequel, and it's gonna be coming out in 2022. And I think that's pretty interesting. I actually did like Rogue One. I think it was. I think this is a common complaint. It was very slow at the beginning, but it got really good towards the end. And I honestly just having like a more ground. I mean, I kind of just like these more grounded Star Wars stories where there's not too many Force or like Jedi or anything. There's mostly just like guns and like Empire versus whatever else. I kind of just like that since whenever you have Jedi, it gets weird. So I'm sure Ahsoka's gonna be good since they kind of like built her character. I mean, there's no crazy shenanigans like they do with like Rey, like in the future trilogy or in the sequel trilogy. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with like a Rogue One prequel. Since if you haven't watched that movie, a lot of characters didn't make it.
Yeah. So like I didn't watch Rogue One, but when I saw that it was gonna be a Rogue One prequel, I'm like, so did they all just die at the end or some shit? So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But yeah, definitely. The sort of like movie or like not the movie, the video that they gave us to a tie-in with Andor, they pretty much are like, yeah, there's gonna be like as big as like a movie or whatever. They're doing everything that they would do for a movie, but just within the scale of 8 episodes, which is kind of crazy because But then again, when I think about it, I'm like, oh wait, it's goddamn Disney. Like Star Wars is now with Disney, so
bajillion of dollars, they'll be fine. And honestly, like this is kind of what I want. Like I kind of like shows more than movies anyway. So having like that same amount of budget, I mean, like some of the episodes of Mandalorian are like blowing me away. I'm like, this is just like a movie quality. So having that with all these shows is gonna be ridiculous. And I knew Disney already said they were gonna double down on Disney Plus, and now we really know what they meant when they said that. So, yeah.
Yeah, especially when we get to the Marvel stuff later. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, definitely Andor is going to be very interesting because I think I have to watch Rogue One now just to, see exactly what happens. And then whenever this show comes out, maybe I'll be interested to actually watch it. So,
right.
Hayden Christensen is going to return as Darth Vader, joining Edwin McGregor in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. And that series is going to take place 10 years after Episode 3. So I think that this, out of all of the other Disney Plus Star Wars shows, this one's definitely the most anticipated just because of Edwin McGregor just returning as Obi-Wan, because people love Obi-Wan and people love him as Obi-Wan. And the fact that they got Hayden Christensen to return, like, that is awesome. Like, that is very, very cool. So yeah, I'm definitely most excited about this one, but the Ahsoka show is also like a pretty close second, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think has that actor done anything since like Anakin.
What, Hayden
like,
Christensen? I don't think so. Let me do a quick Google search. I doubt it because Episode 3, despite how bad it was, it still made a lot of money, and the movies still get released on Blu-rays and probably gets shown on. Oh yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot. I mean, he's done a couple of like small roles. He was in The Rise of Skywalker as like the voice of Anakin for like, I guess, like a brief second.
Right.
But yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot. A couple roles here and there, but definitely people know Hayden Christensen for Anakin Skywalker. So, and I don't blame them there because he is the live action version of Anakin at the end of the day. So, the Obi-Wan show is definitely going to be very, very exciting. And when that drops on Disney Plus, whenever it does, 2022, 2023, whenever, because they did not give us a year for this one, that's probably going to, be hopefully amazing, because I'm sure that they know how much hype and how much anticipation is riding on this one. So,
everyone's excited for this show. Like ever since they like Disney was talking to McGregor about all this, they're like, "Whoa, dude! Like, it's gonna be Obi-Wan show." And now that they have Hayden Christensen back as Anakin, or I guess as Darth Vader now, I think that's gonna be really interesting. Because I know Episode 3 sucks, right? But I still really enjoy it. It's kind of the same level I have for Spider-Man 3, where it's very enjoyable, but it's not good. So I'm hoping these two could really like, I don't know, make something that's really great and not something that's like meme worthy. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I'm really, I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm sure that they're gonna make sure that it's not bad. So.
I hope so. So next we have The Bad Batch, which is a new CG Star Wars show. It looks like it's gonna be like, I guess like the sequel to Rebels, or I guess Clone Wars, because
it's like a spinoff.
Okay. Oh, it's a spin-off, because I know it showed Clone Wars, then it showed Bad Batch, so I'm guessing it's a spin-off to Clone Wars then, yeah.
So the Bad Batch are in one episode of the final season, which people will say that the final season of the Clone Wars should have just been like the last 4 episodes with just with Ahsoka and her just sort of going through the motions as like Episode 3 is happening, like seeing what she's doing in the background sort of thing. But the Bad Batch was in one of the earlier episodes, and I thought that episode was fun and entertaining just because we got to see like this squad of like clone troopers that were just like different and weird, and that's pretty much what this show is going to explore, which is going to be very, very cool. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one because more Clone Wars in my book is like always good. So yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that it just such a turnaround. Like, Clone Wars being like canceled, never being able to finish the storylines. Now it's like one of the bigger things in Star Wars. So it ended up being a good investment, because I remember when the movie came out, like with like the first debut movie for Clone Wars, I think it did like really badly. So it's cool to see it like have this huge comeback where it's like, yeah, this is like a staple in like Star Wars now. So I think that's pretty neat, honestly.
Definitely very cool. Orlando Disney Plus series is in early development. I'm not sure who's going to be in it. I hope Donald Glover's in it, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
A Droid Story is going to be a special Star Wars adventure on Disney Plus featuring R2-D2 and C-3PO. And that one's going to actually be a movie, so that one's going to be very interesting, but it's going to be on Disney Plus, which makes sense because I don't think people are going to go to the theaters to watch, a goddamn, R2-D2, R2-D2 C-3PO movie. And then the last Star Wars thing is that they are still working on the feature film with Taika Waititi, is still within development. So that's probably the most exciting thing that I mentioned out of the 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I don't know what they're gonna do with Star Wars in terms of like actual like movies go,
Hmm.
because like I'm really not that excited to see where they go. Like, I don't know if they're gonna keep continuing on. 'Cause I haven't even watched the rest of the trilogy or the rest of the sequel trilogy. I just watched
Hmm.
the first one because I just heard so many bad things about Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker that I didn't even bother. So I don't know if they're gonna keep continuing with that or if they're gonna go in a different direction. I think they're better off just going in a different direction and going from there. But I have no idea what they have planned in terms of like I guess like the Star Wars movies is. I don't know if it's gonna be like Episode 10 or if it's gonna be like something else. Like I have no idea. I don't know. I just think again, like I said, I think Star Wars is better when it just expands its universe more. Because I don't know, all that stuff is just more interesting than just like the Skywalker stuff, which the movies always have to focus on.
Hmm.
So hopefully we could just finally get away with that in the future films, and it could like do something else. Like, I know Han Solo, or I guess just Solo, and Rogue One kind of did that, but I'm hoping to like really put like get it away from that direction. But I guess we have to just wait and see what that's gonna be about, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure they're just doubling down on Disney Plus because they probably realize, like we said earlier, like or like you said earlier, the best Star Wars stuff is definitely the shows.
Yeah.
So them doing the movies. There's probably not going to be another trilogy anytime soon. I could be wrong. They could be in early development. A lot of people want a Ryan Johnson trilogy, which is very interesting because personally, I love The Last Jedi. I love what Ryan Johnson did for the Star Wars like mythos and like this sort of like lore, sort of like because what he did in that movie was obviously very different for Star Wars, and the things that he pulled off weren't the most Star Wars like things. But then again, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's not gonna sort of evolve. And like the Rise of Skywalker tried to like backtrack everything that he did, which kind of sucks because it was very clear that Disney had no plan going into that trilogy, just sort of just like, all right, so this director's going to do this film, and then we're going to have this director handle these characters, and now we're going to go back to the first director. So, but yeah, definitely the movies are probably going to be on hold for a bit, but I could be wrong. But yeah, these new shows, hopefully they're all good, and yeah, very, very exciting for Star Wars fans, especially.
Yeah, and exciting times for Disney Plus to be like, it's not just the Mandalorian like network now. They got you have some other shows to keep it company.
Hmm.
But that wasn't the only thing. We got some new Disney Plus original anime series also coming out. So Baymax, Zootopia, and Moana. Yeah, I'm honestly the most excited for like a Zootopia show because I
Hmm.
think they could do some cool things. Have a nice like buddy cop sort of like it's kind of like Osmosis Jones, right? Like when they
Yeah.
had the thing and then they had the show, but it felt like yeah, the show makes sense because I'm like yeah, you can just keep doing like just random villain of the week stuff. It doesn't really matter.
Hmm. Like that definitely could be fun because we both love V stars, so like just seeing that sort of like dynamic with like
Yeah,
the herbivores and the omnivores or whatever, like that was like
carnivores and stuff.
carnivore.
Yeah.
My bad. I don't know shit, but anyways, yeah, definitely Zootopia. Baymax I think is very interesting just because
Yeah.
Big Hero 6 is such an old movie, and like that movie didn't do so well for Disney. I think I'm honestly surprised there's no like Frozen animated show, but I'm sure that they're just saving that stuff for Frozen 3 or whatever.
I feel like
Um,
that Frozen's like I'm too big for that. You can get another big
yeah,
movie.
they're like, yeah, we could probably just make even more money if we just did a full movie when theaters are back or whatever. The Tiana thing is actually like the Princess and the Frog sort of, like that thing or whatever, like that Disney movie. Uh,
Right.
so that's gonna be a interesting spin-off. And then just the Moana spin-off is just Moana, which is very like weird. Like why not, name it something else or have like a subtext after that, but they'll probably change it later on to not make it as confusing, but yeah, definitely very cool to see some original animated series. Hopefully, I mean, they're probably going to be CG, but I would like to see some 2D animation because
I
this
mean,
is Disney.
I know there is a Big Hero 6 like animated show and that's 2D, so that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
And I think this is a good return to form since when I was a kid there was a lot of great animated stuff in Disney, the Disney Channel. Like there
Hmm.
was like the I love the Lilo and Stitch show. Like Recess. There was a lot of good stuff on there that wasn't like live action. So it's cool to see them, you know, sort of this like Disney like does Disney Channel even exist anymore? Like there's no real point in
Yeah.
having it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Disney Channel exists. It's just that we're too old to watch it, you know?
That's true. But still, it's good to see them do like other things with Disney Plus and like start like put more effort into like the animated shows. Even if,
Hmm.
obviously gonna be aimed more towards kids, but it's cool to have that, like have some effort put into. Because I do hate when people say, "Oh, it's a kids thing. Don't put any effort into it." I'm like, that's dumb. You should put as
Yeah.
much effort as you do in anything else. Like kids don't deserve like bad content.
Yeah.
They don't deserve like the creepy like nursery rhymes in YouTube. Good stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and like going on that point, like people who like view like cartoons and just like kids content as like not made for adults or can't be made for adults as well is very weird in my opinion, because I'm just like,
Yeah.
Spider-Verse was so good, and that's obviously catered towards kids, but there's slightly darker themes in there, like when the Prowler dies and like he gets shot like that. I was like, oh shit, but they didn't show sort of blood or whatever. They were able to keep it PG still, which was very cool also. And a lot of the Pixar movies are made for kids, but they're still good for like adults and stuff. Like, say what you will about Toy Story 4, I think that movie is still like great and really fun to watch, and sort of sends a message about like moving on, sort of like going past the sort of old everyday sort of thing, and sort of doing what you want, because Woody was so stuck about being Andy's kid or Bonnie's kid or whatever. So Toy Story 4 really opened that up. So yeah, I'm sure that Disney is definitely the king of like making kids content, but also making it for adults as well. So
Yeah, I think it's just for everything. Like, it is a weird tangent, but I just for any like children's media, I think it should always be aimed towards everyone instead of just being aimed solely on kids. Like,
hmm
it's okay to have like solely kids entertainment, like Dora, like more educational
yeah.
stuff. But I think for a lot of like things like like any like PG type thing, it should be targeted for everyone, not just for kids. It should be like everyone should enjoy this. I mean, Nintendo is actually really good with this too. I know we were shitting on them for like a lot, but they are good at making games for like everyone. It's not strictly just for children. Like I could enjoy Mario Galaxy as much as like a 5-year-old can, because it's just fun. You know what I mean? And
hmm
I think a lot of these Disney or Pixar movies also have that same energy to them. So yeah, basically that's my roundabout way of saying I hope these things are good for like children and adults. There you
Yeah.
go.
And the last Disney thing is Lightyear, a prequel Buzz Lightyear movie coming to theaters, I believe, June 17, 2022. And we have Chris Evans voicing Buzz Lightyear. So sorry, Tim Allen.
Damn.
But yeah, very, very cool. I think that, after Toy Story 4 and how that ended, it was going to be very weird to see what they were going to do with the Toy Story license. Because obviously, every single time Toy Story comes out, instantly more toys. They can pump out more toys, but also the movies and the sort of byproducts of what they can do, with Toy Story always does well as well, sort of thing.
Right.
So yeah, Lightyear is going to be, I think, very cool, because Buzz Lightyear has always been my favorite Toy Story character just because he's so cool. He's a goddamn space ranger. So we get to
Yeah,
see,
I liked it too.
yeah, we get to see his like, I guess, early like academy days or whatever. So
Yeah, I mean, there was a very like a show like a long time ago, like in the 90s, I think, that was like the Star Lightyear Space Command or something. I forgot what it was called, but they
hmm
already did something like this, so it'd be cool to see them do like a newer thing with it. Yeah, I know Pixar. Usually I'm not a big fan of any of the Pixar sequels, but usually with Toy Story they do it pretty will. So I'm hoping this prequel will also be pretty well done. So yeah, because honestly I have not been a fan of like any of the sequels besides Toy Story. So yeah, let's hope this one is good.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure is Cars Pixar?
Yeah, yeah, Cars is
Okay,
Pixar.
yeah, I'm pretty sure every single Cars sequel has been trash. So,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong on that. I haven't watched any of them, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong on that. So, we'll just move on from there and going into our recent activities. So, I will let you go first because I got a big ass list in front of me. So,
Yeah, so right away I forgot to watch Attack on Titan because I was really busy this week.
it's all good,
But
man. I'll just say that it's a good episode. That's all I'll
Alright.
say.
So yeah, I didn't watch that because I was like the one hyping it up the most, and I just forgot.
It's all good. It's all good.
Anyway, so Final Fantasy 14 got new patch. I don't want to talk about it that much because Everything could say about this game, I've said like a billion times. But new story is good. New story content. A bit slower than the last one, the last patch, because it's already setting up for the next expansion. So I didn't expect it to be too much of a banger. It was just like not like a filler episode, but definitely just like setting things up for what's ever gonna come next for the story. It kind of worries me that a lot of the villains they're setting up are like not my favorite. Like the main dude from Stormblood, Xenos, like he's not my favorite villain. He's kind of just like, oh, I'm evil and strong. I'm like, okay. So I hope they could do more with him. I know a lot of community doesn't like him as a villain just because he's so boring. So I'm hoping they can make him more interesting in the next expansion because it seems like it's going to be really focused on him. I really like the new raid. I like how the story went. Really easy though. I only do normal mode raids because I don't have a billion hours to put into. Well, I do, but not like I want to play other games. So I don't do the savage raids. But yeah, the normal type raid was actually pretty damn easy. Usually I die a few times in the other fights, but I only died a total of one time during all four bosses. So it was pretty easy. But I liked how the story concluded with this sort of raid story, and it was very gay, and it was great. It makes sense if you know what I'm talking about. It was great. It didn't explicitly said it, but it was pretty obvious. I'm like, yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. I didn't get to fight Emerald Weapon yet because I've been busy with another game, which I won't talk about next, but it's the one ends with you. So Well Ends with You, I bought it because obviously the sequel got announced, and I'm like, oh, I really need to play this game. I heard nothing but good things about this game for like a long time. Like ever since I had a DS, I just heard nothing but good things about it. Like, hey, this is a really unique RPG. Play it. I'm like, okay. And then I just never played it. And then 2 years ago, they released it on Switch, which is the version I'm playing. I'm playing the final remix version. And I didn't get it at first because there is a lot of like control issues. The game isn't really that comfortable to control since if you're playing it in docked, you have to take the Joy-Con and sort of point it on the screen. And usually that's okay, but the game uses a lot of that since the game's mostly the whole battle mechanics are based on stylus movements since it was built for the DS bottom screen. So the Joy-Cons, while the gyroscope is good for pointing sometimes, it's not good when you have to like be really precise with it since it doesn't have like a what do you call that, the sensor bar. So it kind of just goes all over the place and isn't that fun to play. I didn't even bother playing it with the Joy-Cons because I heard it was really bad. So it got a conductive stylus pen, which is it could work on the on touch screen since the Switch screen is like a touch screen. And yeah, it works pretty well with the stylus. It's still a little fidgety. Like sometimes like I enter a command to do an attack and it doesn't really work too well. But for the most part, it's pretty good. It hurts my hands a lot since the Switch is really big. So I have to hold it with like one hand, with my left hand, and then with my right hand I can hold the stylus and try to hold it like that while lying down is like it really hurts. It kind of gives me flashbacks of Kid Icarus Uprising where I'm like this is a really good game, but it hurts me. So that's kind of where I lean with the whole control scheme. But in terms of the game itself, I'm really liking it. I love the style for it. Very, I know people get mad at this, but very Persona feeling. Like, I know Persona didn't invent the whole like, oh, it's like a modern setting, but it's an RPG. Like I know. It just that's the feelings I get from it. The music is freaking good. I love the music in this game. If there's one thing I knew about this game was the music was going to be good, so I kind of went into that expecting that. And the combat is very unique. Since it was made for the DS, it uses the bottom screen. Well, it doesn't use it on the Switch, but on the DS, it uses the bottom screen. It uses a lot of touch commands, and that might sound annoying, but it actually does work pretty well. Basically, you get these different pins, which are basically different abilities you can equip to your character, and if you enter certain commands in the touchscreen, so like if you slash the enemy, you might do one like pin ability. If you like stroke up on an enemy, you might like do some other ability. So you could do some cool combos. Just also, you always have like a partner with you, so you could do another special command and get them to attack at the same time like you. So yeah, it's a lot of things going on in the screen. It's a cool way to do an action RPG that's on like a DS. I thought that was pretty unique, and I just think the game used what everything DS was really capable of in terms of the touchscreen really well. So yeah, I think that was pretty neat. Story itself is also really good. It really does hook you right away. There's not a lot of side content, so the game really is like go, which could be good for some people since I know a lot of people don't like how long RPGs could drag out. So this is one that you don't have to worry about that because there's like barely any side content from what I could see. It's basically just like plot the whole way through. Like I'm almost done with the game. I only have like like 15, 17 hours, and it could have been shorter. I just decided to like grind a bit just for like fun, basically. But yeah, overall, yeah, the game is really good, and I can see why it has a really good reputation. I'll probably talk about it more once I'm actually done with it, but yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, so
And
uh,
yeah,
so the game's probably perfect for Switch Lite users, is what you're saying.
yes, yes. This game would be perfect for a Switch Lite since obviously the Switch is light, and you're gonna be wanting to play it in portable mode anyway. Since yeah, you definitely don't want to play it in docked mode. So yeah, I would say this game, if you have a Switch Lite, definitely pick up this game if you're a fan of like JRPGs, because
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be a good fit and it'll be good buy.
I just want to get that in
Yeah, no, you're right, Mr. Nintendo salesman over here.
there.
All right, so I guess this is the elephant in the room. Cyberpunk 2077. So I wasn't actually gonna get this game at launch since I knew all the issues it was having. I'm like, okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna wait like a year and get it. I wasn't that excited for it anyway. Like I was excited to play a new like Western RPG, and I know CD Projekt Red, they made Witcher 3 and it was really good. But I'm like, dude, I could talk about it on the podcast and that's content, so I'm gonna get it anyway. That's basically why I got it like so early. I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it. I'm not doing anything anyway. So
Nice.
so obviously the game, everything you heard about the game is true. It's very very buggy. I played it for well, now I put like 8 hours into it,
Mm-hmm.
but the first day I played like 2 hours in the beginning, and yeah, I've already had like so many bugs happening. One of the main quests were bugs, so I had to reload my save because the objective wouldn't update. The game kind of runs like garbage on
Oh
my
my
computer,
god.
and my computer is not a slouch. I have a 2070 Super. Like it's a great graphics card. Like it's not a 2080 or a 3080 now, but it's still like a really good graphics card. I should be able to run it pretty well, but I had to like fiddle with the settings a lot. I got it in a place where I could keep it at a steady like 70, 60 frames now. Basically, if you have an RTX card, so I think any 20 series GTX card could do this. You could turn on DLSS, I believe the setting is called, and that like basically like bumps my frame rate to like a crazy amount. Like it's actually crazy that I don't know what it does, but it does a lot. I believe it just like it's like dynamic resolutions. I think it's doing, but like some weird stuff, some fancy stuff only RTX cards could do. So I'm lucky I could do that. But if you have any weaker card, like if you have like a 1080 or anything like lower than that, I say just don't buy it. I say wait until you have like a either a 2080, 2070 or a 3080, like whatever the newer cards are. Because yeah, this game is very intensive. I would say that, and yeah, everything with the performance is just it's a mixed bag on PC and on console. If you're buying this on base consoles, just don't. It looks horrible. Like I saw the Digital Foundry on the PS4 and base Xbox One, and it's running at like 15 frames when things
Oh my
happen. It is
lord.
absolutely disgusting, like that it was allowed to be released like that. Especially since the game was designed with those consoles in mind. It's actually crazy that it just runs like that badly on those consoles. And even then, like I've seen my brother, he's playing it on his Xbox Series X, and it looks better. It runs at a consistent 60, but it's very blurry. Obviously because I keep the resolution down since this technically isn't the next gen versions. It's the just doing backwards compatibility. Since it is the PS4 and Xbox One versions, but they're just backwards compatible with PS5 and Xbox Series X. So hopefully, I think next year they're releasing the next gen version, so it should run smoother. But I guess we have to wait and see for that. And in terms of the gameplay itself, it's good, and it's a shame too, because I think this game is really good. I'm really like hooked with the story. I really like the cyberpunk setting. The combat is actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. But if there's one disappointment I have in terms of just the core game itself is the RPG elements. It actually did like a big turn on me. I thought the RPG elements were gonna be a lot more pronounced and the gunplay was gonna be like kind of shitty, but it's actually the opposite. I feel like the RPG elements are really lacking in this game, but the gunplay is like a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. It's no Destiny 2 or any other shooters. It's not like that to that level, but it's fun to shoot a gun, and I think that's that's a good thing. But in terms of the RPG elements, it is kind of disappointing since like the perks are very small. Like they don't give you that many. Like it's just like really like, oh, you got 10% whatever. I'm like, okay, it's not that exciting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the skill checks are just like really basic. And yeah, it's not impressing me too much in terms of its RPG side of things. But that's honestly better if you're a more like sort of casual like fan of these type of games. Like if you just want something that's more action oriented with like story, then I guess this game is like perfect for you. Um, But again, I'll say wait until a year, wait until a few months, because the game clearly wasn't ready to come out yet. I'm enjoying my time with it. I haven't had too many major bugs lately. I've been saving every other second though, just to make sure I don't have a bug quest. And I think you should do that as well, because yeah, the game clearly was not ready to come out. CD Projekt Red really needed another year. Everyone knew this, honestly. Like, everyone knew this game needed like another year or two in development. But yeah. Overall, I say wait. But if you do want to get it now, it is pretty good. But you'll probably have a better experience if you just wait like a few months or a year. So yeah, I'll probably give my more detailed opinions as I play more of the game. But yeah, right now, first impressions, yeah, it's very rough, but still pretty good. So yeah.
Okay, well, I'll definitely wait for the next gen versions because
Yeah,
like
really rough.
I'm not a huge fan of like super long games like in general because
Oh,
I just like
but
to. I'll let you
that's
go.
actually yeah. Sorry, that's actually the interesting thing about this game. The main story, you could beat it in like 20 hours. It's like really
Oh.
short. Yeah, if you just go through the main campaign, and since the RPG elements are pretty lacking, you can just blaze through the main story without being level gated or really anything. Like I think you just go through the whole story, and if you don't care about any of the side content, you can just go through the main story. Even though I don't recommend that, since I think the side content in this game is really good. Like it's up to the same caliber as like a main story mission. But yeah, if all you care about is the main story, then yeah, the game is pretty short, which is honestly pretty nice. Since I like long games, but it's nice to have a game that kind of respects your time a little bit more. So.
Yeah, I'll just wait for the actual next gen version so I don't,
Yeah, you should.
so I don't, have to play it at like 15 frames or whatever the hell is going on there. But all right, I'll get into everything I've been doing. I'll try to be quick about it. But first up, Miles Morales Spider-Man. I 100% of the game, got all the trophies, did New Game Plus, all that good stuff. Yeah, the game's still fun. I really like it. Yeah, when I went back into it, it was like over a week since I played the game. So when I went back into it, I was like kind of bad. And I was playing on ultimate difficulty on New Game Plus just because why not? That wasn't like a requirement for like the trophies or whatever. But I was just like, ultimate difficulty, New Game Plus. Let's see what happens. I was dying a lot. I'm going to be honest, but still a fun old time. Naruto Shinobi Strikers, been playing that with my friends, Kofi and Louis, I believe, and maybe Jeffrey. But yeah, just playing that with them, you just do missions and just be Naruto ninjas and just running around and just, having fun. That's pretty much it. Jujutsu Kaisen, Haikyuu, they've been releasing new episodes and it's been really good, especially Haikyuu. Oh my god. So if you haven't watched Haikyuu, obviously like the new season is obviously a sequel. Just watch Haikyuu. Like it is honestly like it's a volleyball anime, which might sound a little goofy, but it's so hype and it's so good. I definitely recommend it to anyone that likes shonen anime, like in general, because it honestly like fits within that category, but also being a sports anime. And then Jujutsu Kaisen is still, sort of like it's on like it's sort of like, down period, like it can't be hyped 24/7, like it's sort of, like setting things up again. But it's still good, and there's new episodes for both those today, which I'll watch later. I've been watching some Inuyasha because we recently got Hulu because it was like I think it was like $20 for like a year or something for like Black Friday. I forget exactly what the deal was, but it was like super cheap. So like me and my brother like split it for the 1 year, and yeah, I've just been watching Inuyasha on there because Netflix always skips the intro, and I don't like skipping the intro for anime because I'm just that much of a goddamn weeb. So, and the intro is actually good, so I'm like, I actually want to like watch the intro, and like the subtitles are a little better. But yeah, Inuyasha, it's actually getting a little better. I'm on the last episode I watched was episode 15 out of 167, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, like it's a action isekai sort of show. It's delving more into Inuyasha as a character along with Kagome, and yeah, it's actually getting kind of fun. I'm gonna be honest. So haven't watched it in a couple of days though, because I've been watching Full Metal Alchemist. I'm currently on episode 23. That's the next one I have to watch, and yeah, it's a really good shonen anime, which is it's very clear as to why this show is like number one on like my anime list and any list.co. This show is really good in terms of like developing its characters, its world, its story, explaining why things happen the way they are, the sort of alchemist sort of, tech, like that magic, like how they do it and why like certain things are forbidden or whatever. Like that is all like really good world building stuff. And like the story itself, following Edward and Al on their journey to, fix what they done, is very, very fun to watch. So yeah. And if you guys want to see my Annie list, it is annielist.co/user/tvsonic if you guys want to see whatever I'm doing in terms of the weeb stuff. And then I read up on Demon Slayer. I finished volume 17 and 18, and all I can say is that I still love this goddamn manga. I just picked up volume 19, which came out this month. The next volume I think comes out in 2 months, so it's gonna be kind of sad to wait for that. But yeah, Demon Slayer is still super duper good, and I am still in love with it. But the next manga I'm going to read is My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I just finished up on reading volume 1. So pretty much, it is a bunch of heroes that don't have a hero license, but they're just, they're vigilantes. So you get to go and see what they're doing. And it has that same My Hero Academia sort of charm. It's kind of goofy, it's kind of funny, but it's still a bunch of like superheroes with like their quirks and their sort of special moves. The main guy who's like mentoring the nice guy, by the way, like that is his actual name. Like he is the Deku equivalent. You will not believe what the All Might equivalent his name is, bro. His name is Knuckle Duster. When I read that in my car, I was straight up fucking dying. I was like, there's no way he named himself Knuckle Duster. Are you serious? Like oh my God. But yeah, like I'm pretty hard on the My Hero Academia like anime just because I've just watched so many other shonen shows after that. I'm just like, these other ones are just better. But still, like My Hero is like a really good, like solid, like shonen at the end of the day. And honestly, like I've been thinking about like rewatching it, but that's going to take a long time. And there's a lot of other shows I want to watch. So probably not going to do that anytime soon. But yeah, My Hero Vigilantes, I picked up the rest of the volumes that should come in the mail soon, hopefully. But yeah, definitely excited to go and read up on that because I have volumes 1 through 5 right now. So whenever I catch up on that, I'll have the others come in the mail. I already talked about Attack on Titan. Fire Force. So I did not expect myself to watch this, but Jeffrey was like, you want to watch Fire Force? And I was like, sure, why not? Let's go and see what this show's all about. Because the only reason I haven't watched it yet is because I saw Shofu tweet, Fire Force is trash. And I was like,
it's very divisive. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess I won't watch it. I am 5 episodes deep out of the 25 for season 1. And so far, it's kind of what I expect. It's a bunch of firefighters using fire powers to stop fires. I don't know how that works, but it is what it is. It is a pretty much a firefighter anime, but with superpowers that they can control fire, and they all have like their own special like abilities and their own stories and their own backstories. It's just like a shonen but with firefighters. So if that's what you're expecting, that's pretty much what you're gonna get. There is a lot of fan service. I will say that.
I know that. Isn't there one girl that just gets naked all the time?
Yeah, straight up, like, bro, man, she just like has her boobs out and stuff, and I'm just like, what is going on? And like I forget the main guy's name because I haven't watched Fire Force in a while. Let me actually click on the stupid thing. Shinra, like he straight up just like random like fan service moments with her. I'm just like, what is going on? And like there's another girl, Iris or whatever her name is. She's like a priest or some shit. But like when she's not wearing the priest stuff, she just just has massive tits or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. But if I was like 13 or 12, I'd probably be down for this. But whenever there's like fan service moments on screen, I'm just like, can we just move on, guys? Can we please just move on?
Yeah, it kind of gets like, honestly, a lot of the anime I've been watching doesn't really have that. Like Attack on Titan or like Fullmetal Alchemist, I'm like, yeah, wow, you don't really appreciate like basically like no fan service until you really see it. I'm like, yeah, there's like no fan service in those shows because there's like no reason to have it. Like the only times Fullmetal Alchemist has it is like for lust, but that's kind of like her thing. So like it's just like whatever. But yeah, like I'm just not used to having like that, like, oh, look at my boobs, like it's just like, all right. Like, it's like, okay, there's no real reason for that, but okay.
Yeah, it's just in there, which I'm just like, all right, I'll try to get past it.
Yeah.
And then the last two shows I've been watching are two quick 12 to 13 episode series that I just sort of watched because I was watching or I was rewatching some of Giguk's videos, and when he does like these seasonal anime videos or like the best of for like the whole year videos, I was just watching those to sort of see like which anime I missed, and these two are the ones that I missed. So the first one is Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. So, all right, hold up. It might sound bad. It sounds bad. When I said this to our other friends, they were like, "What the fuck are you watching, bro?" I was like, "No, it's good. I swear." So let me try to sell you on this show. Okay, so it's a comedy, mystery, romance, slice of life, supernatural show. All right, like there's like it's a slice of life romance, but there's also like weird stuff, like supernatural stuff going on within the story, and that's why it makes this show so good. And like it's not like clear, just like like romance sort of stuff going on, because Mai and the main guy, Sakura or Azugara, whatever. Them two, they're not like like super duper or like like romance, like sort of like I love you sort of shit. What the main show really focuses on is like trying to figure out like what the hell is going on when like a girl just like starts randomly, like no one can see her except for our main character, or like a girl, like something else happens with her. I'm not trying to spoil stuff, because I think that when you find out these certain things, because like the first one that I just mentioned happens within like the first episode, so like it's not that big of a spoiler. But yeah, it's a really good just like comedy anime as well. Like it is honestly like super funny. So yeah, and I don't know how it ends because I have to watch the movie to like figure that out, and in order to watch the movie I have to buy the Blu-ray. So
Oof.
yeah, I'm gonna have to buy that Blu-ray. But yeah, it's a really good 13 episode sort of slice of life comedy, supernatural stuff going on. I honestly think that if you haven't watched it yet, like it's honestly one of the shows that came out in 2018 that's like super duper good. So and then the next one I watched was Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season. So this one is not on Crunchyroll. This one's on High Dive, which
What
is part
High
of.
Dive?
Okay, so Verve has a bunch of different channels, right? So Verve, obviously, the main channel is Crunchyroll, but
Right.
there's other channels on there that has anime, and this one, High Dive has Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season, and this one's really good. And I actually canceled my Verve subscription because I can't watch it on my PS5. I don't think they're gonna release the Verve app on there, so I'm gonna subscribe to Crunchyroll so I can watch my anime on my big ass TV. But
Right.
anyways, Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season. This show is about a literature club group of girls going through puberty. They're reading up about sex. They're trying to figure out what that shit's about. They're like, why am I
Yeah.
feeling feelings down here? Like, what's going on? And like, all right, you're laughing, right? But it's super fucking good. I swear to God. It once again, comedy, drama, romance, slice of life. When they're going through their shit, like through puberty, I'm fucking dying. Like this shit is so funny because it's like I've been there, not as a girl obviously, but like you can relate to them on like a certain level where it's like, you've had feelings for someone, or like, some shit's going on with your body and you're like, what the fuck's going on,
Why the fuck my pee hard?
But yeah, like it's super good, honestly. And like they focus on every single girl like pretty like equally. Like obviously like there's the main character girl, Kazuya, but they also focus on all of the other girls like pretty well. And like the main guy character, he's like the supporting character. So like the girls are like the main like people that you're gonna be focused on, and sort of seeing what like they go through, how they try to figure this out. And I love this show so much. I'm gonna be honest, I just bought all of the manga because the 12 episodes the 12 episodes don't finish the manga. I think it goes through all the way up until like volume 4, which is like half of the manga. So I got all 8 volumes because I saw a deal on eBay, and I was like, I could get it all for $70, which is less than $10 per volume, because the retail price for the manga is like $13 each. So I got pretty decent deal. Anyways, Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season. You can't watch it on Crunchyroll, unfortunately. It's on High Dive, so if you want to like start like a Verve sort of trial and then just watch that, because it's only 12 episodes long. It's a really good story, really funny, and yeah, you're gonna see a bunch of girls just go through the awkward phase of puberty and sort of like discover what sex is and, feelings or whatever. So it's very fun. Honestly, I really liked it. Every single time my brother glanced over, he was like, what the fuck are you watching? Because like some parts of the show definitely look like hentai, and I'm like, I swear to God, it's not what it looks like. I swear to God.
You're very brave watching this on a big TV. I watch it like behind my monitor.
No. So I was watching this on my monitor.
Oh, okay.
But I'm switching to Crunchyroll because I want to watch, like Full Metal Alchemist on like my big TV or whatever.
Right, okay.
But yeah, for like shows like this, I'm watching it on my monitor, making sure, my mom doesn't walk in or some shit. But yeah, like this shit is so good. I swear to God, you will not be disappointed with how funny this show is. So yeah, that is my quick rant about Bunny Girl Senpai and Oh Maidens. But
Yep.
anyways, let's get into the Marvel Cinematic news that happened this past week. So, first thing we're going to talk about is the leak set photos that we saw of Haley Steinfeld and Jeremy Renner on the set of Hawkeye. So, just like first impressions, like when you saw these pictures of Haley E. Steinfeld in like the sort of Kate Bishop outfit, like what did you think?
Very purple. I actually don't. I actually don't know too much about Kate Bishop as like a character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's what her costume kind of looks like. Like it's more like a purple type thing. Because honestly, this is why I like the MCU so much, because it introduces me to characters I don't really know. Like I knew Hawkeye. Well, actually, that's true. Hawkeye is like a purple boy, right? But he's never like a purple boy like in the actual MCU. So it's kind of cool. Like she has that same color scheme, and yeah. I mean, I have to know until she actually like talks and does things. But yeah, I think her outfit's cool. I like her bow. It looks pretty good. I like her costume. So
yeah. I was browsing through Twitter. I don't have like the links or anything, but like this is like very like comic book accurate in terms of like what they're doing. Like certain shots that I saw, I was like, damn, like that's straight up from the fucking comic. Like that's crazy. So like
cool.
they're being very what's it called? Faithful to the Matt Fraction, or I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. They're being very faithful to that iteration of Hawkeye, which is what this show is going to be based on, which is very cool. I love Haley Steinfeld. She's I'm not gonna simp, but I loved her in Edge of 17. Her music's not that bad either, and I'm very excited to go and see what she can do within this Hawkeye show, because I think that she can do some great things. And yeah, looks great in the outfit. It is a little unfortunate that this is how we got to see her the first time, is through set photos, because they obviously later did officially announce this later on with the whole MCU stuff. So. You want to talk about the first trailer?
Yeah. So WandaVision, they got a second trailer. Is going to be coming out January 15th, 2021. And I think this is the one I'm the most excited about. I'm excited about all the Disney Plus shows they've shown.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. This is something about WandaVision that I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And it makes me like really excited to see what's really happening to Scarlet Witch here. Because it looks like she's kind of going a little nutso with, with all Vision and like the, I forget what stone it is. Mind Stone Mind Stone, right? Is Visions, yeah. So I don't know what's going on. Like they're like stuck in like this weird like infomercial like 50s sitcom to do, like yo, what's going on, and then they like glitch back to normal. So yeah, I don't know. It really interests me that it's gonna have like this sort of like horror type element or unease type to it, and I don't know. I've been really I've been really excited for it since they showed the first trailer, because I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, it looks like they're like glitching and stuff, and like the world that she's in is like phasing in and out. So yeah, no one knows what the hell's going on, which is like very cool, and I really like that, because when the show does come out, it's like, oh, okay, now you like sort of get what's going on, other than the people that read the comics, because I'm sure that this is based on one of the comics out there with Wanda and Vision in there. So yeah, this is going to be a very cool show to watch, and this is going to be the first one for the Disney Plus shows, January 15th. So the next piece of news real quick is Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness is going to be coming to theaters March 25th, 2022. It's going to be directed by Sam Raimi, and they officially announced that the film will tie into WandaVision and the next Spider-Man film. So yeah, that is some pretty big news, just because It's pretty sure that just confirms multiverse stuff, right? Like,
Oh yeah, like I think now, and we'll talk about the Spider-Man stuff, but
hmm
yeah, they're doing some crazy things with Doctor Strange and just like all the possibly multiverse type things. Um, and it's kind of hard to talk about the Spider-Man stuff, but
hmm
I am excited for it. I mean, I love what's his face
Benedict Cumberbatch.
yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch. Sorry, his name is really dumb. I love him as Doctor Strange himself. It's gonna be exciting to see another Doctor Strange, especially when directed by Sam Raimi. I think that's gonna be really really cool. Because honestly, Doctor Strange 1 was okay. Like
hmm
I think he really carried the movie. Honestly, like it was a very standard this origin Marvel movie. Like we're all used to seeing those, so it's gonna be
hmm
cool to see him in this sequel with like the multiverse of madness. Like that sounds awesome. And again, being directed by Sam Raimi and like, it's gonna be tying into Spider-Man and WandaVision. I'm just like, oh man, I wonder what they're gonna do with this. So yeah, I'm really excited for Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, same here. Pretty much everything you said, I agree with.
All right, so I guess next we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Also got a trailer. It's coming out March 19th, 2021. So it's
hmm
the next one after WandaVision, and this is about what I expected. More of like a buddy cop sort of thing. Maybe Falcon really leaning into him being like Captain America, and maybe like Bucky like helping him out. It's about what I expected, more of an action show.
hmm
It's not like I'm less excited for it, but it's definitely the most like standard one I think out of like the three or I guess four shows. What is a lot of shows, but out of like out of all the shows, I think this is the most like one I expected it to be. Like I already kind of expected it to be like a buddy cop thing. Doesn't mean I'm not excited for it. It just it's just the less surprising one if that makes sense.
hmm Yeah, definitely this one's the one I'm most excited for because I love Captain America. I love what Chris Evans did with the character. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen in this show that's going to hopefully, by the end of it, we see the Falcon fully become Captain America. So yeah, it's looks like a lot of action. The later half of this first look, it had that sort of like MCU humor, which is gonna be kind of weird and awkward to watch at home, where it's like you're not in a theater with a bunch of other people watching. I'm just gonna be like, I'm just laughing to myself to these dumbass jokes. Yeah, it's definitely going to be very weird and interesting to see on how, they're still going to play into like the MCU humor and what they've been doing for, however many years since Avengers 1 came out, because that's pretty much when they like started doing the whole, interjecting humor into these movies, which, should be fun, but it's definitely going to be very weird to see in like, a TV show sitting at home by yourself watching it, so.
Yeah, I'm also just excited for the Falcon to really get like proper screen time since he's always been kind of just there. So
hmm
it's gonna be cool for him to really like develop his character and like sort of like cement himself as Captain America now.
hmm
Be Captain Falcon or whatever. So it's gonna be really cool. I'm excited because I love the Captain America stuff in general. Like I think like Winter Soldier was really good. Or yeah, right, Winter
hmm
Soldier. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that
second
was
one.
really good. Yeah, the second one. That is probably one of my favorite MCU movies. So yeah, very excited to see what to do with that.
Okay, so next one is Black Widow still coming out, guys.
Yeah.
Y'all know that movie? Yeah, it's gonna come out on May 7th, 2021. And they just reiterated everything. It's gonna go into Natasha Romanoff's history and all that other stuff. The movie's been done for like months now, but Disney and Marvel are just like we want it to be in theaters so we can get that money. So yeah.
There's not much else to say about the movie. I think we talked about it like so much that this podcast because it still hasn't come out yet.
hmm
That yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it. Obviously, I don't know in theater. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Who knows? They might delay it again. Screw it.
yeah. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I like Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Obviously, I mean, stuff happened to her, and I mean,
Yep.
it's been like a year.
Complicated.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be cool to learn more of her backstory.
Especially how
But
David Harbour plays into it. So.
yeah. Next we have Loki. It's gonna come out May 2021 as well, and
hmm
this one looks very interesting since it's supposed to be what was it, Endgame or Infinity War? They kind of like yoinked out. I forgot which one. Was
Endgame.
that Endgame, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
hmm
yeah, in Endgame, there was some time travel shenanigans, and Loki in one of those timelines was able to like take the Tesseract and kind of just like go away. So
hmm
I don't know what this is supposed to be really be about because it looks like he got like he got like like not kidnapped, but like he's like like imprisoned or something, and like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it definitely, just like with WandaVision, I have no idea what the hell's going on, but it looks exciting, like, a full series dedicated to Loki, and, it's probably going to explore his character, sort of probably go into his mindset and sort of see what this character's all about. Because, people love Loki just because, he's just the evil guy. And, yeah, definitely. When I was writing this in the podcast notes, I definitely wrote Pokey exclusive clip, but you didn't see that.
Nice.
Yikes. But yeah, definitely gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen here, because there are scenes in this that like all look like very different. Like the scene when like he's on the plane, I'm like, is that like still within the same world where like he's meeting these like native people, or what's going on? So it's probably gonna be some shenanigans about going from other places and multiverses or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah,
So
they seem to be really playing with the whole multiverse idea. So like I don't know if that's gonna be like a major theme throughout the next phase, but pretty interesting. And it's cool to see Loki get more screen time, since usually he's the villain, so you don't really like get to see him, like obviously in Ragnarok you saw a lot of him because he was like there, but it's gonna be nice to just see him on his own, like doing his own little thing. So I'm sure like a lot of people will be happy about that. So I'm happy about it. So yeah.
All right, next thing we got here is the Marvel's What If first look. This was the animated sort of series. I'm pretty sure every single episode is going to dedicate to like a what if scenario within the MCU. So like the one that they prominently showed was like if Peggy Carter became Captain America, and then there's this alternate version of Star-Lord and some other different things that they're doing with this show. So it's going to be very interesting, because I thought that this was going to be 2D, but it looks like it's going to be CGI, which is fine because, it's easier for them to, pump this stuff out, I guess. So, yeah, it's going to be very cool to see what ifs in the actual sort of like, mainstream, I guess, sort of media for the MCU, because, there have been like what if scenarios in like pretty much every form of media, I would say. Like, it's like, what if this, what if that, especially within comic books. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. I actually think the animation looks pretty good too. It doesn't seem like they're really skimping out on it too much, and I think it's just a very interesting idea. I remember when I first heard about this, I'm like, yeah, that's a really interesting idea for a show. Just have like a bunch of like what if stories and like one little Disney Plus like collection of stuff, like I guess collection of shows or whatever. So yeah, I think it's pretty neat. And yeah, I don't know if they're actually using the voice actors like of the actors themselves. Like I don't know if they're gonna be playing themselves if they're actually in the show or not. But
Yeah.
Disney obviously shown this that they're paying no expense. Like, they're going all out with these shows, so it wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, that definitely looks like something that could be a fun watch. And just it's what I'm trying to say is I can see like some episodes being kind of hit or miss if like the concept isn't interesting. But sort of like Black Mirror, where it's like an anthology, so like maybe not every episode is gonna be a banger. But I could see some episodes being really interesting. So, and the ones they showed look pretty interesting. So. Yeah, definitely something I'll be excited to watch. I'm gonna watch all of them. We're all gonna watch all of them. we're Marvel Simps here, so we're gonna watch it all. So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has wrap production. It's gonna be coming in theaters July 9th, 2021 as well. So yeah, this is another big movie, that's coming out for the MCU. We only knew about Black Widow for so long. That's nice to really get a confirmation that, hey, yeah, another big Marvel movie is gonna be coming out soon. Well, next year, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely a all Asian cast. I'm 100% in. So yeah, it's gonna be very cool to see what this movie's about, because the main guy who's playing Shang-Chi is very passionate about this project. I'm very passionate about this character. So I'm sure it's going to be some good stuff. So yeah, it's going to be very, very cool, because I know they wrapped production a couple months ago. So, now that they're officially, reminding you guys, hey guys, Shang-Chi's coming, so it's going to be very cool to see when this movie does eventually drop in theaters, when it's hopefully safe.
Yeah.
The Miss Marvel sizzle reel. So I have a lot to say about this, just because I read the original run of the Miss Marvel comic. And yeah, she is honestly a very cool character. And what they say in this sort of sizzle reel, that like she's very relatable. She is a pretty much the newer sort of characters along with Miles Morales is very true because when I first read the comic, the first volume, I was actually at the library just like bullshitting or whatever, and I was just like, let me go and read this, and like I was reading it and I was like, I'm like really into it, like I can like sort of relate to her to a certain extent about being a sort of a Asian family within a Asian household sort of ordeal, and she looks up to Captain Marvel, and when she gets these powers, she becomes Miss Marvel, and yeah, they did show some clips from the show, which does look very faithful to what the original run of the comic did. I haven't read that comic in like years, by the way, but from what I can tell, it looks like they are taking this like very, very seriously, and I cannot wait to go and see this show because I'm pretty sure they were originally going to make it a movie, but I'm sure that they realize that probably a show's better just to make sure that they are able to flesh out the character as much as possible within 8 episodes as opposed to like one like 2-hour movie. So
Right. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And yeah, she is like a newer character, and I feel like a lot of people aren't really giving her too much of a chance since I feel like her first big appearance was in the Avengers game. I know some
mhm.
people didn't really like her in that. So I think like if you go to like that video, that YouTube video has like a bunch of dislikes. It could just be like gamers being gamers or whatever. But like you know how people get with minorities and women because they're garbage. But
Yikes,
yeah,
yep.
it gets pretty yikes. But I don't know. I'm excited to see her character really put in like the MCU. When Miles was starting to get his like big time in like Spider Verse and now with the game, it was really great to see. So it's gonna be good to see another like upcoming like hero, that's a newer hero, really be put in the spotlight, and mostly one that's
Mhm.
like is a minority and has like cool things going on. I think that's pretty neat as well. And with more things than Miss Marvel here, we got Captain America 2, Captain Marvel 2, sorry, is going to be
Mhm.
featuring Miss Marvel by Aman Valiani. I think I said that right.
Villani, yeah.
Villani, yeah. And that's
I
going to be
suck at
coming out. Oh,
pronouncing words too, so don't worry about
yeah,
it.
names I'm really bad with.
Mhm.
And that's going to be coming out November 11th, 2022. So, again, really cool. I actually haven't watched Captain Marvel. Actually, I haven't watched Captain Marvel 1.
I'm not sure if you have to at this point because
I mean, I might.
honestly, like, Captain Marvel, like, just like gives you like backstory on her. Like, if you want to know more about Captain Marvel, just watch that movie and see what like this version of the character is. But like, they really should have like released that movie maybe somewhere before Endgame or somewhere before Infinity War. My bad, because her contribution in Endgame isn't all that big. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's gonna be cool to like look forward for that because I don't really know what it's gonna be about. So, but I think it's always gonna be good to have more characterization for Captain Marvel plus Miss Marvel since I think Captain Marvel, doesn't really have a lot of like, she didn't have a lot of time to develop yet because she was like really in the end of the MCU as we know it right now. So it's
hmm
gonna be cool to maybe see her in a more starring role. So we'll see. Maybe she'll be more in like the space stuff. Who knows? But yeah, it'd be pretty cool to see more of her in the future.
Yeah, gonna be very exciting to see more of Kamala Khan, especially since she named herself after Captain Marvel, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how that dynamic works, especially with Brie Larson. Like, say what you will about her, like, fuck everyone, like she is a good actress, like she knows what she's doing. So,
Yeah,
and she's
she's a
obviously
Scott Pilgrim.
she's obviously very passionate about Carol Danvers as well. So, yeah, going to be very exciting to see what happens with Captain Marvel 2. Then they officially announced Haley Steinfeld in the Hawkeye Disney Plus show, which is supposedly supposed to come out next fall, but they only said in this tweet coming soon to Disney Plus. We'll quickly move on from there and talk about She-Hulk, which they're bringing back Tim Roth, the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk for this
That,
series.
that's crazy.
Yeah, which I was like, huh? Like that is kind of weird. And obviously Mark Ruffalo is going to be appearing somewhere within the show. So yeah, I think She-Hulk is definitely one of the sort of underrated or lesser known or Marvel characters in general. Like people know that like, there's Hulk and then there's She-Hulk, but like people don't really know her character and her story. So a Disney Plus show, once again, I think is appropriate.
Yeah, mostly it's kind of cool to see some like Hulk stuff, like, because Hulk has kind of been like in a weird spot because I think Universal like owns like him or something weird.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's like the movie rights or
the
something
movie
like
rights
that.
for him, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's gonna be cool to see like something with Hulk because I always feel like Hulk is super underutilized in like everything. Like, obviously in Avengers he's used, but besides that you don't really see too much of him or like
Mm-hmm.
just Bruce Banner in general. So it would be cool to see some like more things with him. So I'm glad they're going with She-Hulk because I guess they could do things with her, but maybe not too many things with Hulk himself. So and just having Tim Roth as Abomination again is really weird. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool to hear because again I think he is one of the more underdeveloped like Avengers honestly, and he's always in there, so it's gonna be cool to see him. Well, not him, but I guess some sort of thing where Hulk get something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the way that it works is that like Marvel can use Mark Ruffalo slash Hulk in the movies, but like they can't make like a solo Hulk movie, which is
Right.
why when they made Thor Ragnarok, they meshed in the Hulk, the Planet Hulk sort of
Yeah.
storyline in there with Thor, which obviously like that worked out in the end and made that movie like really really good. But like they can't make like solo Hulk stuff, which is kind of weird. So legal stuff once again, but yeah, definitely gonna be very exciting to see what She-Hulk is and who her character is, bringing it out to the masses on Disney Plus. So
Yeah. So next we got another show, Moon Knight coming to Disney Plus. Again, we don't know too much about
hmm
that. I mean, I only know Moon Knight from like
Spider-Man, right?
games or Spider-Man, yeah. So I'm
hmm
not too familiar with Moon Knight. So again, that's also a good thing though. Like just because I
hmm
don't know a hero or like a certain villain or whatever, doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Like I think that's again, like I said, that's where the MCU shines is like giving these lesser known characters or villains like more like opportunity to grow and reach a wider audience. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they do with that character in his own show.
hmm Samuel L. Jackson is going to return as Nick Fury in a Disney Plus series original, A Secret Invasion. So,
Ooh.
yeah, it's going to be Nick Fury spinoff show. So, yeah, and it's also going to have the guy who was the Skrull Talos in the show as well, I guess, coinciding with Samuel L. Jackson. So, yeah, this one's gonna be interesting because people love Nick Fury in the movies whenever he appears in Avengers or even within Spider-Man. Like that was obviously like very cool. Um, but yeah, I'm honestly very curious as to what this show's about because the Secret Invasion sort of like title is used within the comics for like a much bigger story. So I'm not sure if they're gonna use this show to like maybe set something up, or maybe it's gonna go into the Skrulls or whatever. So. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do here, and I think it's cool that we also get just getting a Nick Fury like show with Samuel L.
hmm
Jackson. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, that sounds really cool.
yeah.
So next another this is all Disney Plus down here.
Yeah. Disney
Ironheart.
Plus.
Ironheart is a Disney Plus original series. I actually don't know what this is. What is
Oh
this
yeah.
about even?
So Riri Williams, she is the successor to Iron Man.
Oh.
So they are going to create a Disney Plus original show based on her character, and yeah. So I guess she's gonna create another Iron Man suit, but no one has done it since Iron Man since he passed. So I wonder how they're going to make this work because I'm pretty sure Riri Williams in the comics, the way she existed was with like coinciding with Tony Stark. So I
Right.
wonder how they're gonna bring her character up without Tony Stark even there. Um, so yeah, and like there's a lot of controversy about the Ironheart character because this was around the time when like Marvel was just like creating like these new versions of older characters, but like putting like a sort of like spin on them. So like Ironheart, Riri Williams is a female black Iron Man pretty much. And then they also did the same thing with Hulk where like he's like a Asian male or whatever instead of just a white guy. So yeah, they created a lot of like different characters within the Marvel universe while also like keeping like the same sort of idea of what the original had, but just sort of putting like this twist on it. And like at the time, a lot of people were not happy about that because they were like, I just want to, read like a original like Captain America comic, not, with Falcon or whatever. So, obviously they like undoed a lot of that sense. And if you want to know why people don't really like Riri Williams, I think Trailer Drake or Comic Drake, he did like a really good video, sort of comparing Miles Morales to Riri Williams and why Miles works and why Riri doesn't. I haven't watched that video in a while, so I'm not gonna like quote stuff that he may or may not have said. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be very interesting once again, and very cool to see what they're gonna do with this show.
Yeah, I actually didn't know any of that, to be honest. So yeah, that's very interesting to hear. Well, hopefully the MCU could do it more justice, since again, like I said, like the third time, to do a good job doing characters that don't really matter, or not matter, but that people don't know, and make them better. So hopefully they could do justice to her, as they did with a bunch of other characters. As we also have Armored Wars. It's going to be Don Cheadle as War Machine again. And I think this is also really neat, because I think War Machine was also like super underutilized in like almost everything. And I like Don Cheadle as like a dude, so it's going to be cool to see him have his own show, I guess. Yeah, I actually really like the War Machine suit, so it's going to be cool to see it do more stuff. And again, with Iron Man, or Tony Stark gone, it's going to be cool to see like more Iron Man type stuff again. So
definitely
even though the Iron Man sequence kind of sucks, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be very cool to see James Rhodes once again as War Machine, sort of doing his own thing, because I think that they wanted to make a War Machine movie like somewhere in the MCU, like somewhere within like Phase 3 or something, but it just never panned out. So why not just give him a TV show, because that seems to be working for Disney so far. And obviously you pump more numbers into the Disney Plus subscription, and you could make a longer show, a longer sort of storyline with these characters. So yeah. I'm going to blaze through some of these real quick so we could get to like the more interesting stuff. Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special with James Gunn to write and direct, 2022. So that is going to be 2 years from now. We're going to get a Christmas themed Guardians of the Galaxy thing. Then we also have a Groot miniseries, I Am Groot miniseries, sort of just like mini shorts, I guess, that they're going to do for Disney Plus. Christian Bale officially announced for Thor 3 Love and Thunder as the villain Gore the God Butcher. And then Blade, once again, and sort of, remind you guys that they're going to make a Blade movie with, oh man, I'm going to butcher his name so hard. Malasha Ali. He's a very, very good actor. Yeah, he's a very, very good actor. And then the last one I'm going to blaze through here is Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, or Ant-Man 3 Quantum Manium. So yeah, what are your thoughts on all of these so far?
I'm excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. I feel like that could be fun. Christian Bale as I guess Gore the God Butcher sounds pretty interesting. I'm really looking forward to Thor 3, since I love Ragnarok. So hopefully Love and Thunder could have
my bad. Thor 4. This is Thor 4.
Oh yeah, you're right, dude.
My bad.
Totally forgot about Dark World because it sucks so much ass. So sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah,
no, that's my bad
Thor
too.
4. Let's just pretend Dark World didn't happen. But yeah, Ant-Man. I like Ant-Man because I like what's his face. Paul
Rudd.
Ant-Man? Yeah, Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd. He's cool. All right, I forgot his name. I didn't watch Ant-Man and the Wasp. I know you hated it, right?
No. Do not watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, man. Like I swear to God, like people who think Ant-Man and the Wasp is good, don't talk to me. I'm joking, but like also don't talk to me, because when it comes to so when you go from Ant-Man, right, like that movie was so good in terms of being like a movie to like develop Paul Rudd as like a character, and sort of like like make what's his name, what is actually Ant-Man's actual name, anyways, make that character. Wait. Let me just Google it real quick. Fuck. Ant-Man shit. What's his name? I'm pretty sure it's like Scott Lang. Yes, Scott Lang. So they actually did a good job making Scott Lang like an actual like smart character, right? And then in Ant-Man and the Wasp, he's just jokes and dumb, and I'm like, he's not dumb, guys. Like he's actually smart. And I was just like, like they just ruined his character. And like the third act of the movie, like they just start pulling stuff out of their ass, just like, all right, we need to like solve this plot hole. All right, screw it. This is how we do it. And I'm like, what? Like that didn't really make that much sense. But yeah, hopefully Ant-Man 3 can do a much better job. So yeah, that's just my little rant on that. But yeah. I love Ant-Man 1 like so much. So when Ant-Man 2 came out and it was just that bad, I was just like, I hate everything. But yeah, Ant-Man 3.
Yeah. And Blade is happening. We already knew that.
Yeah, Blade.
And I'm sure that I Am Groot is gonna be a cute little thing. So.
Black Panther 2 is going to open on July 8th, 2022. They will not recast T'Challa, but instead they will explore the world of Wakanda and the rich characters introduced in the first film. So I wonder on how this movie is going to play out, because the person who plays what's her name? Shuri.
Yeah.
She had like a small little controversy where like she said some stuff on Twitter, and I think she was like an anti-vaxxer or something.
Really?
I forget what she said. It was very, very controversial, and I was just like, what the fuck did this bitch just say? And like, what's it called? Someone tweeted at her like, I hope you get fired from like Black Panther 2 or something like that. And she liked the tweet. I was like, uh-oh. Like, I don't know what's going on, but someone needs to take that phone away from that girl or whatever. But yeah, I'm sure that they're not going to recast her because Shuri's, what are those? Like people, people love her character. So, it is what it is. But them not recasting T'Challa is a very, very smart and bright idea, because if they did, probably be very, very bad for Disney and Marvel in general. But hopefully Black Panther 2 can still deliver on being a Black Panther sequel.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be weird, and it's still really sad that Chadwick Boseman, when it's no longer here. But I like you said, I think it's smart they're not recasting him, because I think that would look really insensitive and just like. I think there's like now a lot of people just don't see Black Panther as anyone else. It's gonna be hard to like recast him to like fit how he was already like acted or whatever. So yeah, kind of a smart move not to do that. It's kind of awkward still called Black Panther 2, but I'm sure they'll find a way to make it work. So I think the world of Wakanda, yeah, like they said here, is really rich with characters, and I think they could do interesting stuff even with Black Panther gone. So. I'm just gonna see how that turns out.
Yeah.
And next, we got John Watts will direct Marvel's Fantastic Four. They're actually doing Fantastic Four. It's not Fan-Four-tastic or whatever it was called.
Fan-Four-stick.
Yeah, Fan-Four-stick. Yeah, that's what it was. About time. Like, oh my god. Like, I feel like Fantastic Four is like one of like the more mainstay for Marvel, and they were never able to do anything with it just because all the legal issues. So it's really cool to see that. Like, I don't even care about Fantastic. Let me just say that. Like, I think Fantastic Four is kind of lame, but it's cool to just have them there at least,
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic Four has seen better days. I will say that. And the funny thing is that Marvel. So like before they reacquired Fox, they didn't make any Fantastic Four comics forever because they were like, we can't make any fucking movies with it. So they were like, we're not going to do anything Fantastic Four. So literally Fantastic Four has been shafted for like however many years. And only recently they did a newer Fantastic Four comic, which I read up like the first couple of issues on up until like the wedding special or whatever. And like, it was all right. Like I honestly like enjoyed my time with it because who was, God damn it, I'm going to do more research. The Fantastic Four comic, who was writing it, Dan Slott. So Dan Slott, he is known for his run on the Spider-Man comics. So I was like, oh, Dan Slott's writing it. Let me go and see what this is going to be all about. And it was good up until that sort of wedding stuff, and I sort of like lost interest in it. Not to say that it's bad, but it was just me personally, like, it's kind of hard for me to go and get into like superhero comics without characters that I've already, sort of like established a relationship with, or like with like a plot line that's like super engaging and like sort of gripping for me. But John Watts, Fantastic Four, some people say that he's going to ruin it. The only thing that I don't understand people is that like he's only directing the movie. He didn't like write the script or anything, guys. Like the reason why Tom Holland Spider-Man, especially within Far From Home, is so just like high schooly sort of like humor sort of stuff. Like people will 100% point out that bus scene where like that's probably the worst scene within Far From Home, which I won't disagree with you on that, but I won't agree with you on that either, because there might be a couple of other bad scenes in there. I haven't watched the movie in a while, but moving on from that, I think John Watts as a director, I think that hopefully he can handle, developing this, first family sort of thing. And next thing that's probably going to happen is that within the next 6 months, we're probably going to get, some sort of like Hollywood reporter, casting for the Fantastic Four, which me personally, I've always been a very prominent fan of John Krasinski and Emily Blunt to be Reed Richards and Sue Storm, respectively, because I think that they're both fantastic actors and they're both married in real life. And I think that they could both nail that role perfectly. But that's all I have to say.
You're ready for the big news here?
Yep. All right. So now let's get into Spider-Man 3. So there have been a lot of reports, a lot of rumors about everything that has been going on within this movie, just because, there's just been so much going on with it, and Marvel hasn't really given us anything solid on it. So first up is Alfred Molina. He's returning as Dr. Octopus. He is Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2. So now he's coming into Spider-Man 3 and playing as Doc Ock again, which one of the main things that I saw on Twitter was that people were like, man, like his ending within Spider-Man 2 is so good, like he like redeemed himself. He sacrificed himself to save New York sort of thing. So people are like, like this kind of like ruins his character that he's going to be like as a villain. But who knows? Maybe he could be one of the good guys, but I doubt that. Yeah, definitely seeing this sort of Hollywood Reporter article going around on Twitter, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is getting kind of crazy now. I'm going to be honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely getting really crazy. And, it's basically, like, confirmed at this point. Like, all the multi-dimensional things they keep hinting at and, all the casting we keep hearing about, it basically confirmed that Spider-Man 3 is basically going to just be Spider-Verse live action now. And, I mean, I'm still really excited for it. But I could see it being a bit messy as we'll talk about.
Yeah, so
yeah.
supposedly there's a report that went out. I didn't link it here. But supposedly the most of like the signings that they did with like Andrew Garfield and Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone, they're supposed to be just cameos, which
Right.
is gonna be very weird. Along with Toby, like they're supposed to be like just cameos or whatever, which is gonna be very weird because I'm sure that Spider-Man 3 is probably just gonna be. This is just my theory. Spider-Man 3 is probably just gonna be like Tom Holland with hopefully Daredevil, helping him out through like the legal stuff that's going on. And then like it's gonna lead into a Spider-Verse movie because I think that when they, I feel like that this is like the sort of like Spider-Man 3 curse where like Spider-Man 3 like they always just like put like everything in there. They're like, screw it, every idea we have, we're just gonna put it into this one movie. So I feel like Marvel, like they probably have learned. Hopefully they've learned from the other Spider-Man films that like cramming in too much in one film is not a good idea, but I'm definitely getting ahead of myself here. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know how Spider-Verse was able to do it because Spider-Verse had a lot going on too, but it was able to feel really like complete. I guess mostly because they focus on Miles and just like Peter B. Parker the most. Like Spider-Man got some things, but she wasn't really like the focus. Like, and the other ones are mostly just comic relief. So I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know if it's just gonna be cameos. Like I don't know if like Tom Holland's just gonna go through different dimensions. Like maybe he sees like Tobey Maguire fighting Doc Ock, and then like he moves on to like another dimension or something. I don't know if that's if it's gonna be that tiny of a cameo. If they actually are gonna play a bigger role. I just don't know. Like I think I would prefer if it was just like Tobey and Tom Holland, and it kind of just team up, or maybe it could be all three team up at the end for something. I don't know. I definitely don't think the whole movie is gonna be like Tobey and Andrew Garfield hanging out with Tom Holland. Like I don't think that's gonna happen. But it's not gonna be up to the level of Spider-Verse where it was like they were always in the whole movie.
Yeah.
But and I think that would be for the best. I think it would be nice to have cameos of them, and hopefully like a fight scene with all three of them. But if they do try to make them the whole movies, I think it's gonna be a mess as well. I think it's gonna be too much, and it will be like that Spider-Man curse, like you said, that Spider-Man 3 curse, like you said, where it's just too much like in one movie. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe they might do something more with like a Spider-Man 4 or what. I don't know. Like maybe I don't know. It's just like a crazy thought to have that all the streams are crossing.
Yeah.
Like, is this the Spider-Man movie that's gonna end all Spider-Man movies? Can we have world peace for all the Spider-Man fans, even the Andrew Garfield, all two of them? So yeah. It's definitely gonna be really interesting to see. And I don't know. It might be too much, but I don't know. I'll probably fanboy for
Yeah, I
everyone in
mean,
this.
regardless of what's gonna happen in this movie, like it's gonna make a bajillion dollars because they've just crammed in so much in here, and they've probably thought out about like a lot of what's gonna happen in the movie and maybe lead into a Spider-Man 4. But first we'll just say that Andrew Garfield and Kirsten Dunst are reprising their roles for Spider-Man 3, and they are still in talks with Tobey Maguire. They're still trying to close the deal on him. And Emma Stone is expected to return as Gwen Stacy, but it isn't 100% confirmed. So yeah, like the only way that I think that this movie will work with as many people, with as many actors, is either one, they're cameos, or two, they make the movie like 3 hours long or something like
Yeah.
that. Like they make this movie like hella long. Like they, like whatever story that they're trying to do. Like if they want Toby and like Andrew to actually have something more than just a cameo, because supposedly, this comes from one of my coworkers, so this could be all false. But my coworker was telling me that like Toby is like hesitant because he wants to do more than just like a cameo. Like he wants to actually like have lines and like actually like have like a story in it. So maybe like that will push the movie to like 3 hours, and maybe we'll actually see like a sort of setup for Spider-Verse or whatever. But I'm very interested to see, Andrew Garfield, because, his relationship with Sony and Marvel has been slightly tainted with how they handled the Amazing Spider-Man series. Because honestly, I think that he was a fantastic actor, which he definitely showed in the next movie that he worked on, which was Hacksaw Ridge. Like, he is a fantastic actor, and he's super passionate about Spider-Man. And the way that he got treated there was just, such a shame. So hopefully that they'll be able to, maybe like close his character out and, give him the actual conclusion that he wanted, so, but yeah, just seeing this many people within past Spider-Man movies return for this one is going to be insane. So,
Yeah, especially us that we've seen basically like all the. I mean, I've seen like Spider-Man 1 in theaters when I was like a really tiny kid, so like it's
hmm
gonna be cool to see like just all of them in like one movie. Like that'd be like amazing. So I'm hoping
yeah,
it's not a mess either. Like I'm hoping it's not like Spider-Man 3, which is too much for one movie. And if it is too much, again, I'd rather it just be really long at that point. Just like make sure you fit everything in there, make sure everything feels like complete and like just like a good movie. It's definitely gonna be interesting. Yeah, it's like this has not been done before. I mean, besides Spider Verse, but like this is crazy.
yeah.
So
This is a live action sort of Spider-Verse, but with the other Spider-Man movies they've already done, Like
yeah,
this isn't like, they're doing like, like 2099 Spider-Man or like, Spider-Man Noir. Like these are other versions of Peter Parker that they've done in the past that they're trying to bring back for either a cameo or, a full storyline. This movie, like Spider-Man 3, no matter what happens, it's gonna make a bajillion dollars, like without a doubt. And then if they actually do a Spider-Man 4, like where they want to like fully explore like the multiverse with Toby, with Andrew, like that's also gonna just make so much money. So
yeah. Either way, they win.
either way, I would, pretty much is what Sony and Marvel are saying. But yeah, I hope that, Tom Holland, like like, I don't know what it is about Spider-Man Twitter, but they've just been giving him, like so much shit just because of like, the way that his character is being handled within the context of the MCU, which is like such a shame because like Marvel only got that character halfway through like Civil War. Like they were making Civil War and they were like, wait, we could put Spider-Man in? Screw it, we'll put Spider-Man in. Because if you take Spider-Man out, like he doesn't really affect the movie all that much, other than like his few interactions with Tony Stark and Captain America and, the other characters, like he doesn't make that much of an impact in that movie. But that was such a perfect introduction for the character. And, even within Homecoming, I think that Tom Holland and that version of the character was pretty good. Far From Home, left a little bit to be desired, but I still think that Tom Holland, he still put the effort in and he still put the work in as being Peter Parker. So.
Yeah, I mean, I never have a problem with Tom Holland, honestly. Like I know
hmm
people don't like him. I like him. Like I still think Andrew Garfield's probably like the weaker of the three, but
hmm
yeah, I like Tom Holland. I think people give him too much shit. Like, I think it's just because he's basically like Miles, but not Miles. Or he's like younger. He has his best friend and like stuff. Like, it really does feel
hmm
like yeah, he's just Miles, but not. But I don't know. I'm okay with. I'm always okay with younger Peter Parkers. Like, it doesn't bother me
hmm
that much. Like, he doesn't always have to be college age. Like, it's fine to have him be a high schooler, obviously. Like the ultimate ones. But Yeah, I don't know. I like Tom Holland. I think people give it too much shit.
Yeah, and the last bit of news is that this is still a rumor, but Charlie Cox is set to return as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3, which after this broke out, like every single person on Twitter was like, you know what, haha, it's funny, this actor returns as X character for Spider-Man 3 or whatever, but yeah, Charlie Cox, supposedly he's going to return as Daredevil in Spider-Man 3 now that Marvel has the rights for Daredevil back from Netflix. So yeah, this is so exciting because I love the Daredevil Netflix show. All 3 seasons are great. Season 2 is the weakest, but still is really fun and really awesome to watch. Season 3 really went above and beyond in terms of like elevating what the other 2 seasons did. Still, season 1 is like by far like super duper perfect in terms of like a superhero show because every single episode they don't really waste time. But seeing Charlie Cox back in as Daredevil is going to be awesome if this does happen because Matt Murdock and Daredevil in general, I think, is still like a very lesser known character despite his time within the Marvel Netflix, sort of universe because it is the Marvel Netflix stuff that's sort of separate from the MCU, unfortunately. But yeah, I am just super excited because I know that Charlie Cox, he didn't take roles so he could do Daredevil season 4. And obviously that didn't go through. Yeah, like supposedly he put roles, like he declined roles so he can do Daredevil more. And like that obviously didn't happen because, they just toasted the whole Netflix stuff. So yeah, thank God for Kevin Feige for, having a goddamn brain and hopefully bringing him on for Spider-Man 3 and maybe even more, maybe Disney Plus stuff. So.
Yeah, it would make sense for Daredevil to be with Spider-Man because New York. So, yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. So hopefully they could get like, a movie with both of them. I don't know if this is the movie to make that happen. Since it seems a little too jam-packed, but we'll see about that rumor.
Yeah, because they definitely have a lot of stuff going on in here, with Benedict Cumberbatch, Jamie Foxx. Like, there's just so many, like, A-list actors within this one movie. I wonder how they're going to make it, under 3 hours, because I'm sure that they're going to do a lot of stuff within this movie. And supposedly, I'm not sure if this is true, but supposedly Tobey Maguire was going to, like, a fitting shoot or some shit. I don't know. It looked like he was going to the gym. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
So, yeah, people are definitely going to be swarming every single actor within this movie because it's definitely the hottest thing, and we'll definitely get whichever news outlet is able to go and report on whichever Spider-Man 3 exclusively gonna get them clicks. So yeah, Spider-Man 3 is looking like it's gonna be a clusterfuck, but hopefully it's not as bad as the other ones. So
yeah.
All right, so let's get to the Game Awards. So I'm going to blaze through the results, and then we're going to get into the announcements last. So the Game Awards happened last night. So Last of Us Part 2 obviously took home the most awards. Some people are going to say it's rigged. We'll get into that later. So they won Best Action Adventure, Best Performance by Laura Bailey as Abby, Best Narrative, Best Audio Design, Innovation and Accessibility, Best Game Direction, and Game of the Year. Animal Crossing won Best Family Game, Fall Guys won Best Community Support, No Man's Sky won Best Ongoing, Ghost of Tsushima took home 2 awards in Best Art Direction and Player's Voice, which is the fan-voted sort of Game of the Year. Hades took home 2 awards, Best Action Game and Best Indie Game. Tell Me Why won Games for Impact, God bless. Among Us took home 2 awards in Best Multiplayer and Best Mobile. Final Fantasy VII Remastered took home Best RPG, and Valkyrie 100 Thieves won Best Content Creator of the Year. So, Damien, where do you want to start? Do you want to leave Last of Us for last, or do you want to go right into it?
I don't know, let's talk about the other games first.
All right.
So, Animal Crossing, right?
Best family game.
Best family game is usually the Nintendo category, so that doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised it didn't win more stuff, actually. Like, I thought it would win, like, maybe something else, but, it just won. A lot of these games, because Last of Us 2 was so stacked with all its rewards. That it's crazy that everything else only got 1 or 2. Like, Doom Eternal didn't win anything, which is sad.
Yeah, that definitely sucked.
But, yeah, it's weird that, like, everything else just got the scraps. So Animal Crossing won the Best Family Game. That makes sense. Like you would expect the family game to win that, and I think Animal Crossing deserves it. I wish Crash won, but that's not a family game.
It's not really a family game, but it's like borderline there.
Yeah, like I said before, that game like is hard.
Yeah, if you actually finish the game will make you break your controller possibly. Who knows?
Fall Guys winning best community support. I'll say that's okay. Like I know some people are like, oh, there's not enough content, but you still gotta keep in mind it's still like sort of like an indie studio, so they can't really produce content as much as like a big AAA studio could. And they probably
Hmm.
didn't expect as big of a fan base as they were, as they got. So them, they hire more people, and then they gotta develop the content. It takes a while. So I think it's good that they get best community support because they've been pretty active on Twitter all the time and answering questions, and they seem like nice people. So I think winning best community support is pretty deserved in my opinion. I don't know how
Yeah.
you feel. Yeah. Um,
Fall Guys, best community support. I think I forget who else was nominated there, but I definitely think that Fall Guys, they tried their best with what they had in terms of trying to cause commotion on Twitter. Because the Twitter account for Fall Guys, I think, is one of the Twitter accounts in 2020 that really skyrocketed in followers just because of how much the social guy was just having fun with it. And the community support for the game itself, I think that like they're trying their best to sort of pump out new content because they're already coming out with season 3, which they announced during the show. And it looks like that, it's going to be wintry theme, Christmas theme. So that's going to be fun to play around with if you're still playing with Fall Guys. Cause, I sort of went into season 2, played the new stuff and then just stopped and then went back for the Sonic costume, obviously. But other than that, I think that Fall Guys is definitely doing their best with what they have. No Man's Sky winning best ongoing was definitely very surprising. Even the guy didn't expect that because I feel like that when it comes to ongoing games, like that was the one game where like I didn't play or like had no idea what No Man's Sky is doing these days, other than that they did like a big update to sort of like overhaul the game. So
Yeah, they did a lot of big updates. I think No Man's Sky, obviously, when it first released, was a disaster, as we all know.
mhm.
But as time went on, they really did their best to improve and keep improving the game. And now it's in like a really good state. And I agree with this as being best ongoing. I think, the team, I forgot what the developers are called, but they did a good job really salvaging No Man's Sky. And I have some sympathy for them because they were like an indie studio that went from making like Joe Danger to making like No Man's Sky, like this big anticipated AAA like sandbox like space game. So they just had a lot on their plate, and it was obvious that when they first released it, it was going to be kind of a dumpster fire. So I'm glad that over time they were really able to like clean it up and make it a lot better. And I think now it's in a state where you can actually like play it and enjoy it like for what it is. So I think it winning best ongoing is pretty well deserved in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. That game when it first came out, I saw that in the bargain bin like instantly. I was like, God damn, like that sucks.
Yeah.
But moving on, Ghost of Tsushima, the game that pretty much everyone thinks that got robbed from like best action adventure, best game direction.
I
All that
think it got a
stuff.
little robbed for best action adventure. Honestly, I think that
Yeah,
was should
I
won
was
it.
like, Last of Us won this one. Are you serious? Anyways,
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima won best art direction and the player's voice sort of like game of the year sort of vote. So yeah, best art direction. I think that one is well deserved because the game does look beautiful. The game
Oh
does
yeah.
look very, sort of, distinct. Like if you were to show someone a screenshot of Ghost of Tsushima that like plays games, they're like, "What is this?" They'd probably instantly tell you it's Ghost of Tsushima because there's no other game on the market right now that looks like that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a very colorful AAA game, and like its setting of like feudal Japan looks like super nice. Like it's just a very breathtaking game. It might not be like the most technically like advanced. Like the character models they're all right, but like the environments themselves just like super nice. It really makes you feel like you're a feudal Japan samurai. But yeah,
Yeah.
in all seriousness, I think it does deserve it. It's kind of sad that I kind of wanted this to win action adventure, and maybe like art direction would have been like Ori or like Hades, because I think I prefer it when those like a more stylistic game wins those. But I'm okay with
Hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima winning it as well. And player's choice, obviously, I feel like a lot of these votes were kind of in bad faith though, because I'm like, oh, we
They're
just don't
like,
want
I hate The Last of Us. Yeah.
yeah. So even though I would have voted for it because I love Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm not doing it out of hatred for Last of Us Part 2.
Hmm.
So yeah, it kind of feels like a little misdirected, but whatever. It won the player's voice, and people think that, yeah, that's the real gamer's choice. So, anyway, so we got Hades winning Best Action Game and Best Indie Game. This is great. I didn't expect it to win action game. I really thought Doom Eternal would get that, but I think that's deserved too. It was when we were doing our like sort of like predictions or whatever. I said it was either between Hades or Doom game action game, and yeah, Hades got it, and it's kind of cool. Hades got 2 awards honestly, because I think it deserved it. It was probably is like the best indie game this year, and that's saying a lot because there was a lot of good indie games this year. So yeah, I think both of those are really well deserved. I think it did deserve both of those awards.
Yeah, definitely. If it didn't win Best Indie Game, I would have been like, what was the other game then? Because I think out of all of the indie titles, like Hades definitely got like the most sort of like mainstream recognition, if you will. So, tell me why, winning Games for Impact, we had no idea what the other games were, but hey, tell me why Games for Impact. It makes sense because I think that they did a really good job in terms of sort of with the sort of more sensitive aspects of the story, with this transgender guy sort of trying to tackle that and sort of handle that in a story matter and be very responsible with it, being very, not insensitive, actually being, smart with it. Like they actually did a really good job with it. And also it's not just like, oh, I'm trans. Like it actually plays into the story and actually plays into the narrative. So I'm glad that this game won Games for Impact, it won something,
Yeah, I'm happy it did. I actually really did like Tell Me Why. I thought it was a good return to form for Don't Nod. Even though it seems like the game that just like came out with isn't that great, or it's kind of mixed as well. So I'm happy Tell Me Why is like doing well at least, because I didn't honestly it felt more of a sequel than Last of Us 2 did to Last of Us 1. So I mean Last of Us, what the fuck? No, I mean I freaking Life is Strange, damn. I'm like what am I talking about?
It's all good.
Anyway, now we got Among Us. This game, all right. So the developers look really nice. They look like nice people, and they probably did deserve it. But the game still came out 2 years ago, and I still don't know how comfortable I feel with it winning Best Multiplayer and Best Mobile, because I'm like, it didn't come out this year. It was definitely there out of popularity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely there because of the whole blowing up with the streams and the YouTube content and how popular the game is amongst more normies, pretty much. So I'm glad for the devs to actually win this. But like, I just feel like that when it comes to the Game Awards, like you should only be able to nominate games from that year. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It is their show. They'll do what they want. And the game did feel like it came out this year, but in reality, it came out, 2018 or something like that?
Yeah,
so
2018.
Yeah, but at least they are updating the game. They did announce a new map and stuff like that. So, but best multiplayer, I think that that was deserved. Just because when it comes to people who love playing, I guess, other games with other people, when people think of like multiplayer games this year, Among Us definitely comes to mind. Not for me personally, just because we don't have that large of a group of friends that really want to play this, and it's a social sort of like what's it called? Yeah, social deception game, and we've played a ton of those. And this one's very sort of like bare bones, where it's like he's the imposter or he's not. We've played other ones like Town of Salem, where like there's multiple roles in there, and they all play differently. So yeah, hopefully Among Us can like update and like maybe add different roles, because I think that's the next step for the game, like 100%. Best mobile game, I'm a little hesitant on. Were you actually gonna say something or?
No, not really. I mean, for mobile games, I don't even. It was like Genshin Impact, like that's it. It was like the Pokemon one. I don't know. I think mobile is fine. Like maybe Genshin Impact, maybe should have won because it actually came out this year. But yeah, I don't really know. I mean, mobile is also like who cares. I'm happy Among Us like won 2 things because the dev team does like really nice people. But again, came out 2 years ago, so I don't know if it really counts, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually surprising how many people play Among Us on mobile. Like, it is kind of crazy. But then again, the mobile app for Among Us is kind of dog. Every single time our friend Louis talks about it, he's like, yeah, man, like, it's fucking bad. Like, people just leave lobbies. It sucks typing. I'm like, that sounds bad, because I've only played Among Us on PC when I was playing it with like randoms or whatever, because I was personal stuff. But anyways, yeah, Among Us winning multiplayer, fine. Mobile, I'm a little hesitant on, but we'll move on from that. I'll let Damien talk about this next one.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy remake, now remaster. You freaking.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so this one, best RPG. I'm okay with this. Yeah, I think it deserves it. I think Persona, 5 Royal should have gotten it, but I honestly thought I just want Persona 5 Royal to win best RPG because I thought Final Fantasy 7 would. Oh no, actually won best soundtrack as well, but won best. I think they did on a pre-show. That's why Final Fantasy 7 remaster. I say remake won best soundtrack. With that, I agree with. The soundtrack is amazing in this game. But yeah, it's best RPG. I'll give it to that since it technically came out this year, and Persona 5 Royal is basically just like a remaster. So yeah, I think it deserves it. It's a great game. I loved it. Of course, like I keep saying, the ending is a little iffy. But for the most part, it was a great remake. It hit all the beats. It was great. I love the combat. Everything was great. And I think it deserved it. But there was actually a lot of good RPGs as in general, like Yakuza 7, Xenoblade. Xenoblade wasn't there, which is dumb, but whatever.
Unlucky.
And there was some other game. What was it? I think like Wasteland 3. That was also good. So yeah, a lot of good RPGs this year. So I'm happy Final Fantasy 7 Remake was able to take it. And I'll let you talk about.
Valkyrie.
Yeah.
100 Thieves, run it up. Let's get it. I think out of all of the content creators on there, Valkyrie was the one that I watched the most, which isn't by a lot, guys. I don't watch her stream like that. Don't call me a simp, please. But when she would stream, obviously, like I've seen clips of her. She's very funny. She's very chaotic, evil. I would say like she is very sort of crazy sometimes, but it's fun. She's doing it for the e-stream. It's content at the end of the day, and she definitely grew the most out of all of those other streamers because of Among Us this year. I mean, Tim had like his sort of spotlight when he was trying to win a game of Fall Guys. The other content creators I'm not too familiar with. I know Alana Pierce is more of a industry sort of person. She does make content on the side with her streams and YouTube, but I don't view her as a content creator personally. So I'm glad that Valkyrie won it because I think that she deserved it, because her switch to YouTube, I said this last episode, her switch to YouTube was not the best. She did not retain a lot of her viewership, but because of Among Us and this year in general, she's regained and then some a lot of her viewership. So I'm very glad that she has found success and won Content Creator of the Year, because I think that out of all of them, she definitely deserved it the most. So now let's talk about Last of Us 2. We're not going to go through every single category and sort of like nitpick each one's. The one that I will nitpick over is definitely best narrative and best game direction. So like the way the Game Awards works this year and last year, guys, is that it's 90% of a committee and then 10% fan voted. So I don't think a lot of people really realize that, because, Twitch chat was like rigged. And then, the couple of people, hashtag Save Smash, hashtag Free Melee. Yeah. Every single time Last of Us won something, it was like rigged, which like, best action adventure, I think me and you both, expressed that. I think that isn't, exactly what the game is. Like it is definitely a adventure game, but like best action adventure game sort of thing. I think that Ghost of Tsushima was a little bit better in that category, but when it comes to the committee, I'm going to assume that it was a lot of people that also gave Last of Us 2 like 10 out of 10s and recognize that game was like their sort of game of the year already. So what do you think about, it winning this many awards?
Yeah, like I didn't play the game, so I can't really say too much about like what it does and doesn't deserve. But I definitely, just by looking at it and seeing a bunch of gameplay, I really don't think it deserved to win best action adventure, like we both said. I think that category should have went to Ghost of Tsushima, in my opinion. The game is more like linear, and you're more like, I wouldn't associate that with action adventure really. I know like there's one chapter where that's more free form that you can like kind of explore it as Ellie, I think. But Ghost of Tsushima is an open world game, so I don't know. I would have given that personally to Ghost of Tsushima. Best performance, I think that's fine as Laura Bailey. I don't see any issue with that.
I thought that was fine. Obviously, as the Miles Morales fanboy, I would have gave it to my boy Najee, but it is what it is.
Yeah, he did a good job too. I think the game was just too new. I know it was there, but like, I think people cemented it as Laura Bailey would get it. And that's why I like Laura Bailey as an actress anyway. I think, but from her other roles in like a bunch of other games and anime or whatever I watched, then I think she's pretty good. Best narrative, again, that I can't comment on that one either. So I don't know. I know you might have some issues with that. I know a lot of people might have some issues with that. I can't say much because I again didn't play it. And then the other ones are like best game direction. I still don't know even what that means, honestly. But
Yeah, is that like the same thing as narrative? Is that sort of like, sort of the category where like the direction that the game was going for, did they nail it right, sort of thing? Like, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, best narrative, best game direction. I'm a little hesitant to give it to them on. I know Ghost of Tsushima. I wouldn't even give it to them either, but
right.
I would have to look at the other categories or the other nominees to sort of pinpoint if Last of Us 2, in my opinion, deserved those two. Because I think the narrative and the game direction was a little shaky, just because of how ambitious Neil Druckmann was with this story in terms of letting you. Spoilers, guys, if you haven't played Last of Us 2 yet, where you could play as Abby and you could, sort of see her perspective and sort of her side of the story. Because, like I said in my video that I did, on this YouTube channel in defense of The Last of Us Part 2, which I pretty much go super in depth on the game, I thought that it wasn't nailed properly. I thought that they probably should have handled it a little bit better. Maybe have you switch between Ellie and Abby, but maybe they went for that direction and maybe it didn't end up right in their eyes and just decided to just split the game in half, which, maybe that was the better choice. Maybe it wasn't. I'm not entirely sure, but I just felt like that the narrative and the game direction that they were going for were a little rocky. So.
Right. And again, I can't really say much. I honestly, Last of Us Part 2 was literally the only game this year, like AAA game I didn't play. So there's not much I could really give my opinion on. Because literally every game on the Game of the Year list I have played except Last of Us Part 2, just because I have not played Last of Us Part 1. Just because honestly the gameplay just doesn't interest me that much. I'm not a big fan of like sneaky games like that, whereas mostly just like just gotta sneak around and like do that. I'm not really that into that. So again, I don't feel too comfortable giving my opinion on it, unlike other people where they're just like, yeah. But I think the other awards are deserved. Performance, innovation, yeah, in accessibility and audio design. Like, sure, yeah, I think that's pretty well deserved.
Yeah.
And even Game of the Year, like, I don't know, like it's all subjective at the end. Like it doesn't really matter, but and I kind of expected it too. Like, I'm like, it's kind of how I felt in 2018. I'm like, I thought Red Dead 2 was gonna win everything, and it kind of did, but it didn't win Game of the Year. So I was kind of expecting the same thing for Last of Us Part 2, but then it ended up winning. So I'm like, okay, I wasn't that like surprised, but I was kind of like waiting for an upset, I guess, but I guess it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't really bother me because I kind of expected it to happen.
Yeah, it's also, it's just the Game Awards, guys. It's just Jeff Keighley's show where he got a bunch of people for like to sort of pick out which ones they thought were the best, and 10% fan voted, which I think is fair. I think maybe 15, but I don't even think that would have been a difference maker at all. But innovation and accessibility, I think that Naughty Dog definitely went all out in that department. Like, there's so many things you can do within The Last of Us 2 to make it accessible for however you need it for yourself, which is kind of crazy. Best audio design, I would have given it to Ghost of Tsushima, which, someone in the YouTube comments call me a Jin Sakai fanboy, which I don't give a fuck. I think that when it comes to the sounds and noises within Ghost of Tsushima, I think that Sucker Punch probably went above and beyond. Like, they literally flew to Japan to like get sounds for that game. Like, that's kind of crazy. I don't know what they did for The Last of Us 2. They probably did some other crazy stuff as well, because this is Naughty Dog we're talking about here. But yeah, it is what it is. Game of the Year, I mean, I wasn't like that surprised or like that, sort of disappointed with it. It's just that, it's not my Game of the Year, obviously. But it is what it is. It's just what the community thought that was this year's Game of the Year. It definitely made the biggest impact in the gaming community by far, just because of how controversial and how much press the game got from so many different people, from so many different opinions. Pretty much everyone you talk about this game with, they have a different opinion, is what I'll say. Like, there's no one that really, or there are people that truly love and truly hate the game, but there's also a lot of people in the middle, like myself, that like certain aspects of the game. Like myself, I love the gameplay. I think the gameplay is a huge step above what Part 1 did. It's definitely more of the same, but they definitely upgraded a lot of the stuff that I thought needed to be upgraded. But the story isn't all that there for me personally. I'm not going to say it's complete dog shit. I'm not going to hate on the game, but I just think that they could have executed it a little bit better and maybe made it a little bit shorter, because this is Naughty Dog's longest game and they spent a lot of time sort of like developing this story. And then the presentation and like the accessibility and all of that other like technical stuff, I think is really, really good for the PlayStation 4. So yeah, game of the year, it is what it is. People always think that, they think that their game that was game of the year will win it, but it doesn't happen a lot of the time, unfortunately.
And plus, at this point, I don't watch the Game Awards for the awards. We watch it for the game announcements, honestly. And that's what's next. And it kind of started with a big one, being that Sephiroth is going to be in Smash Ultimate, and it's coming out like this month. So that's crazy. So Sephiroth, I did not expect at all. Like, I was guessing like Crash, Master Chief, Doom Guy. Like, those are the sort of things in my head when this was happening. And then like Sephiroth showed up. I'm like, what? So I did not expect that. I didn't expect, because Square is really stingy with like even with Cloud, like they added Cloud and they give him like 2 songs. I'm like, that's all you get. Like they were, he doesn't even, like Final Fantasy doesn't even have like any spirits in Smash Ultimate. Like they are very, very protective of what they had in Smash in terms of like Final Fantasy representation. So it's cool that Sephiroth is here to sort of like flesh that out a bit more. Hopefully we can get some spirits. Hopefully more than 2 songs. Like please, that's horrible. Like I'll be so sad if it's just one Wing Angel and that's it. I'm like, please don't just do that. But yeah, in terms of the character itself, I'm happy. I mean, I know anime swordsman, whatever. Good, like, I don't care. Like, it's Sephiroth, dude. Like, it's cool to get another villain in Smash as well. Like, there's not that many of them, especially when it's DLC. I think this is like the first like villain type character that's been like DLC. So that's pretty neat. And he just looks great. Like, he has a long ass sword, a lot of reach. I mean, I love sword characters. As I say it, I love swordies in Smash. They're sort of what I'm used to. It seems like he has some special mechanic where he has like his one wing and he could do crazy stuff. The trailer was just amazing, dude. I love the trailer. It was so anime. It was great. I loved it. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to Sephiroth.
Yeah, definitely. When I was watching it live, I was like, man, what are we doing here? Like, we got all of the, Smash characters here, and then, the I guess like one of the stupid, spirit guys or whatever gets sliced in half. I was like, what just happened? That's not Crash. Crash can't do that. And then it was Sephiroth, and like I didn't like explode like react because I'm not like a huge Final Fantasy guy, but I was just like, no way they're doing this. And I didn't say it because our friends were kind of behind on the stream, so I was just like, all right, I'm not gonna say anything, but I was just like, what the hell are they doing? So yeah, it is kind of crazy that Sephiroth is in Smash Brothers. I think that he was one of the characters that not a lot of people expected, but he is definitely one of the iconic Final Fantasy characters along with Cloud Strife. So very, very cool to see him there. New Perfect Dark game was announced. I'm not a huge Perfect Dark fan, but it's cool to see another sort of like retro series get revived once again for like the bajillionth time.
Yeah. I mean, the last like Perfect Dark game was like 360 game. I think that sucked ass. So I think Rare made that. I mean, I think Rare made Perfect Dark in general, I think. So it's cool to see them making like a new Perfect Dark game. I know people are really excited for that. I don't know too much about the series. Besides like the 2 games, like I think it was on N64 and then the 360 one, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool for fans of that series that it's getting like a proper revival. I think that's pretty neat. All right, so Back 4 Blood. This one I was like so sure was Left 4 Dead 3. I'm like, holy shit, is this Left 4 Dead 3? And then it wasn't. It was it's a spiritual successor because it's basically the same people who made Left 4 Dead and they're making their own Left 4 Dead. And they're really cheeky about it. They're not even hiding it. It's like, yeah, Back 4 Blood. I'm like, good. I mean, Valve kind of sucks because I'm like, just make another game, please. I know they made Half-Life Alyx, but I'm like, yeah, only 1% of the population can play that game. So like, good job. So I mean, I love Left 4 Dead, so I'm happy to see it gain like a good spiritual successor where it's like that's basically Left 4 Dead 3 and I'll take it. So
definitely.
Oh yeah, go on.
No, you go first.
I was gonna say it's coming out really soon. Actually, it's coming out like June 21st.
June.
So
June 21st, 2021. So 6/21/21. Yep. Anyways, Back 4 Blood, very, very exciting because I have a lot of fond memories playing Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 on the 360, and then sometime I played it on the PC with like the mods and stuff. Master Chief running around
Hell yeah.
as just killing zombies and stuff. So Back for Blood, I'm very excited about it. My only concern for it is that the price point, because I know that when people think about Left 4 Dead, they got it during like the Steam Summer Sale or whatever, and they were able to play it with their friends. So I wonder how much this title is gonna be. Hopefully it's like like $40 at most, maybe 50. But yeah, because I think that a lot of people are gonna be hesitant if it is 50 or more to buy it, because it's just another Left 4 Dead sequel, but with newer sort of technology backing it.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that. I think 40 is a good price point, since like everyone needs like obviously a copy of it. So I think it being a cheaper price than 60 would be preferable. So especially since those games aren't really like, I guess, quote unquote long, but there's really replayable with a different difficulty setting. So yeah, I think 40 is a good price for it to be at launch. So.
Yeah, so hopefully, they show us more content, show us more things that we can do within this game, other than, the normal sort of thing where you go into a level, you just mow down these zombies, you get through the obstacles, you find the thing to open the gate or whatever, you got to do what you got to do within the level and then get to the end, to the, next safe room or whatever. So Arc 2 is coming 2022 with a animated series behind it with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, what the fuck? I was like, is this like Horizon? I was like, is this Horizon Zero Dawn? And then I was like, nah.
That's
like,
what Jeffrey said. I was like, shut up, bro.
And then it was like Vin Diesel, and then it was like Arc 2. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Also, the animated series is having like David Tennant and Russell Crowe and Elliot Page. I'm like, what is happening? Did Arc have that much money that could afford all these people for this animated series? What is going on? So yeah, that was weird.
They are definitely throwing the bag at this animated series. They're pretty much banking on this like being successful, which is kind of crazy. I'm not sure on how good it's going to be, obviously, other than the fact that they have so many actors and actresses behind it. It's going to be cool to see on how that plays out, because I was like, Arc 2, okay, like that's nice, Vin Diesel's in it. Oh, the reason why Vin Diesel's in it is because they have an animated series. Okay, now it all makes sense.
It's so weird. It's just like Vin Diesel. It looks like deep faked into the game. It looks so weird. It
definitely looks weird.
It was got the Callisto Protocol, which again is another like this game but not this game. It's it's by the Dead Space guy, and it's supposed to be like sort of just like Dead Space but not, and it's supposed to be the most scariest game ever apparently. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I never played Dead Space, but I've seen a lot of Dead Space. To know that it's a beloved series. My brother loves that series, and really disappointed that the series kind of just died after 3. So it's gonna be cool to see someone else sort of like make a spiritual successor to that series. Because I know a lot of people love it. So.
I've never played Dead Space. I've watched a lot of Dead Space 3 with like Jesse Cox and Dodger when they did their playthrough. Because that one was more action oriented, and I was a big scaredy cat for horror back then. But nowadays I'm a lot more open to it, so I'm excited to see on how this game plays out. Maybe I'll play the other Dead Space before this one comes out. But yeah, this one, it's another this game but not this game. So I'm glad that we're getting another Dead Space game in a sense. Open Roads. It's a road trip adventure game. I believe this is made by the people that did Gone Home, I believe, or something like that. I could be wrong. It's another indie game that the studio made. Yeah, the Gone Home studio is making Open Roads. Instantly, when this game came on, it looked right up my alley because it looked like Life is Strange. So I was just like, yep. The art style, it looks pretty nice. I'm gonna be honest. But
there was a lot of road trip ones. Wait, hold on. Which one was this one?
Open Roads.
I remember the
road trip adventure.
That one, yeah, that one looked good too. Because there was another road trip one where it was like Route 96, I think. That one looked pretty good too. I don't know whether it's like a bunch of road trip games. I don't really know, but it looks pretty interesting. Yeah, very I guess Life is Strange vibes to it. I never played Gone Home. I know people liked it a lot, so very interested to see how that game will work out. Scarlet Nexus. This is very anime. So they showed this during during the Microsoft thing, and I think it actually looks a lot more fun here because I didn't really show any gameplay there. It gave me a lot of Astral Chain vibes, just
Hmm.
for like you're on the street and you're like weird like anime cops, and then we have to like go all DMC combat on like aliens. I guess I don't know. It's something I would play honestly. I think it looks pretty neat. I love me my anime games, so hopefully
Yes,
it's good.
sir.
Yeah. So
As a new weave, maybe I'll play this one.
yeah.
But the guy who was voicing it, I think that was Pro ZD. I think that was
Oh
Pro
really?
ZD. Yeah, as like
Oh
the
shit.
robot guy or whatever. I was like, because I had to rewatch it again. I was like, that's fucking Pro ZD. Like I think that's him. But anyways, Scarlet Nexus. It looks very interesting, very cool. Definitely Astral Chain vibes I also got from it. So
Yeah.
hopefully this one does well. Next one we got here is Evil West. This is a action western zombie game as far as I could tell. It was just like a CGI sort of like trailer or whatever. It's coming 2021. Any thoughts on that one?
Very weird. I'm just like, what's going on? Then it's like he's like fighting zombies and he has like
Yeah.
superpowers. I mean, it looks stupid and it looks cool. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be, but like, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Western like type stuff, but
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, if it's interesting, then sure. I'm always down for whatever that is.
Yeah,
Um,
the only thing I've played is Call of Juarez, and I fucking love that game.
I
But
know you do.
anyways.
It's like Cold War. I saw that. I was watching this like most of the time at work because I was like in the bathroom. Like I'm just like I'm not busy. I could just like watch most of this on my phone. So I just saw like on Twitch chat just like Cold War as sequel. I'm like, all right. Anyway, Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. So this sort of like a not I guess like a remake of Ghosts and Goblins with a new art style. To be
Hmm.
honest, I'm not a big fan of the art style they picked for this. It kind of looks a little cheap.
But you could
Um,
switch back to the old one.
that's
Yeah.
cool, but also it's just like I wish it was like a better art style. I'm not like the biggest fan of how it looked. I mean, hopefully we get more Ghosts and Goblins type things. That'd be kind of cool. Because
Hmm.
I got pretty pog when I'm like, oh shit, it's like Ghosts and Goblins, but then it's like, oh okay, like I don't know, it seems a little cheap, but who knows? Maybe it could be good. I mean, I know it's hard as shit, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Ghosts and Goblins, I have no experience with that because I'm not trying to break controllers. But, you
right.
know, Resurrection, they are bringing it back. So, once again, nice to see another sort of older game get returned for newer audiences. It Takes Two is a game made by the A Way Out guy. Fuck the Oscars, dude.
Yeah.
So he's making this game, and it once again a multiplayer game where I guess you're doing like platforming and like puzzle solving and stuff like
Really,
that. So
really big tonal shift from A Way Out.
yeah. Yeah, A Way Out is like, a sort of realistic sort of like two prisoners escaping prison, and now we're doing this game where it looks like, a bunch of toys running around, platforming and stuff. March 26th, I guess 2021 is supposed to come out, so that's pretty cool. The new Among Us map, we already talked about that. Master Chief comes to fucking Fortnite.
Yep, he could dab.
Along with Daryl and Michonne from The Walking Dead. So yeah, I think Fortnite at this point, there are still a bunch of kids who love playing Fortnite. They still love, playing Fortnite, the characters, the dances, all that stuff. So Master Chief joins them, so that's cool. You got any thoughts on that or what?
Kratos is also in Fortnite, right?
Yeah, they did announce that, which I was just like, God damn it! If you had to pick
Yeah.
one PlayStation character, why couldn't it be like one of the furry ones? But anyways.
It's just like just seeing Kratos with like an AK is just like the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's so funny. And seeing him dab, I'm like, oh my god, what is this game? I mean, it's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, Master Chief, I'm like, sure, let Master Chief be in there. I mean, it'd be cool if Nintendo added like Samus in there or something. But
Yeah, that was like rumored, but I doubt it.
yeah, except they might have a Sony and Microsoft like representative. It would be cool if Samus was in there because that would fit. But
Mhm.
Nintendo, we know about Nintendo at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like still like, does anyone even care about Walking Dead anymore? Like, who cares?
Oh my lord, yeah. I'm pretty sure the AMC show is supposed to end soon, but I
Please
think it
let
should
it
have
die.
ended a while ago. But anyways, definitely something that we've talked about on this show previously in our other podcast a lot with The Walking Dead. The show just slowly declining in quality with just the decisions that they made. But I heard it's been better, but I'm not taking the time to get back into that.
Yeah, I'm kind of over it. So this is exciting. So Ruined King, a
Mhm.
League of Legends story. So this is like the first time Riot, well, they're making a single player thing, right? Like this is the first time they're
Mhm.
doing like a true single player game. And it looks great. I mean, like it. The people who are making this made a game called Battle Chasers Night War, which I did play, which is also like basically it looks exactly like that, except they put League of Legends assets instead. Like the way like the turn-based combat, I'm like, whoa, that looks exactly like that game. Like, is that the same people? And I think it is. Just like now they're working under Riot. And
Hmm.
yeah, it looks cool because I honestly really like a lot of like the League lore and like the characters, and it would be cool to really explore them in like a non-MOBA setting because you can't really do much with that, obviously.
Hmm.
So it's cool to see them really just doing like a turn-based RPG. I'm like, hell yeah, this is what I want. Give me more of this. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm very hyped to see all the other single-player games they're making. Since obviously they showed they are working on a bunch of things. Like I think they're making like an Echo like platformer or something, and like
Yeah.
some like Diablo-looking type game. So yeah, I'm very excited to see them expand. League of Legends past the MOBA. It'd be super
Yeah.
cool to get like an MMO. Honestly, I highly doubt that because that takes a lot of resources. But I think the World of Runeterra would be really cool to like just explore it as like an MMO type thing. But one thing at a time. I think this is a nice little RPG that could be cool to expand like stories. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yep, League of Legends is a game that I've played a lot, so being able to play something that is a single player thing is gonna be very cool. It is a what is it? A turn-based RPG, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's
Is
looking like a turn-based RPG. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a bunch of League of Legends characters that they just sort of threw in there. I was like, why is Braum here? He's not, I guess part
Water.
of.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here? I guess they're just, throwing in League characters, I guess the popular ones that people
Yeah,
really like.
they put Yasuo, Ari, and
Yeah.
Braum. I'm like, they're not supposed to be in Pirate Land. Yeah, so.
I'm like, yep, Ari's in here. They're definitely trying to, appeal to a majority of the league player base. So, yeah, it's definitely gonna be very cool to see what else they have. But this first one looks really good. So I am excited to see it because it is coming to pretty much every single platform as well. So that is very, very cool. It's not just coming to PC. It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, and I think Switch as well. So it's gonna be very cool to see.
Yeah.
Mass Effect will continue. It was like a little teaser thing. So yeah, BioWare's trying to get out of the shithole that they created themselves with Anthem and all of that controversy that happened. I guess last year or something like that. It
Yeah. No,
happened
2
a
years
while
ago.
ago.
Yeah, 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
it happened a while ago. But yeah, BioWare's still trying to get themselves out of the hole that they dug themselves in. So hopefully they'll be able to redeem themselves because a lot of people view BioWare as a shitty developer, which, that
What
is just
attitude? Yeah.
unfortunate. Yeah, that is just unfortunate. So hopefully they'll be able to redeem themselves with a new Mass Effect game that they just teased. So
I think they will. Apparently, because I don't know, I still don't know too much about Mass Effect. I haven't played it when the remasters come out, but my brother told me since he's a massive Mass Effect fan, said that this is basically Mass Effect 4. Like they're kind of just ditching whatever they did in Andromeda, since that like blue lady at the end is the same blue lady that's your party member throughout the original game series, and they could like last a long time. So she found like I guess like some sort of like armor from Shepard or something. So it looks like it's gonna be a direct sequel to whatever happened in Mass Effect 3. So that's gonna be exciting for people that play the original trilogy. So hopefully they don't mess up the ending like they did with 3, because I know people weren't really happy with that. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Mass Effect going forward.
all right, so in terms of announcements, like I think that overall, what we got from the Game Awards is sort of what I expected. Nothing like too amazing or too spectacular, just because this is the Game Awards we're talking about here. There's gonna be a lot of like normie gamers watching this because oh look, it's the Game Awards. Let's see what wins Game of the Year, sort of thing. So the announcements that they gave us were pretty much what I expected. A couple of new things like the new Left 4 Dead, or sort of spiritual successor to the new Dead Space sort of game, and yeah, I just thought that it was pretty standard, but nothing that like seriously blew my mind, sort of thing. So, what'd you think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, usually I actually like the Game Awards a lot because they actually the only two that make me scream the most, like when Psychonauts 2 showed up like a long time ago, and when Joker was in Smash, those got the biggest reaction to me of any announcement I've ever had. So that's why I look really forward to the Game Awards, because usually they're like the announcements that get me the most. I'd say Sephiroth was the most hype for me, but there was some cool stuff. It's not like a lot of hype stuff because it's like a lot of newer IPs, which is always nice to see. Like like Back for Blood and stuff. So not a lot to really get excited about because they're newer IPs, but it's cool to see. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't regret saying through it or anything. I think last year was a little worse, honestly. So I'm happy this year was a bit because they ended the show with freaking Fast and Furious last time. So I'm happy
Yeah.
we got a little more this year.
Yeah,
So
we got
yeah,
some actual games.
yeah. So I'm happy it turned out pretty okay.
All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to add, good sir?
No, I think that's everything.
All right. So, thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 51. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with the last episode of 2020.
Oof. All right, later, guys.